Yeah, I'm just gonna
Oh,
start the stream here. Let's see.
mm-hmm.
Mock leak code, then resume reviews. Boom. Okay. So, what themes are we looking at today? What type of problem are we doing? Leak code. Anything you're looking at
Uh,
specifically?
Probably
Okay.
still record for now. I, yeah, haven't got practice with the
Sure.
other parts yet, so can't really go
Okay.
into, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Um, Let me see. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Do you want to change the language? Okay. Yeah. You got it. Sounds good. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
trying to find an interesting
Yeah,
problem that's not too boring.
yeah, for sure,
Oh, that problem looks
for
fun.
sure, for sure.
A
A
graph
graph
problem?
problem might
Yeah,
be
okay.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. What kind of graph problems are interesting? Oh, have you done Alien Dictionary before? Have you done a problem called
Sorry?
Alien Dictionary?
Alien Dictionary. No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Wait, what difficulty we're looking at here? Let me just check this. Medium. Okay, okay, okay.
Medium.
I
Yeah. Or,
Sounds good.
yeah, for the harder
Remember?
mediums.
Yeah, that one's hard. Okay, maybe that one's a bit weird. I'm trying to find one that's because graph problems are either
Mm-hmm.
too easy or too hard. There's not that many that are like truly
I see.
intermediate, but probably yeah,
I see. I could try and take a jab at the
yeah.
slightly hard
We can
ones,
do
but
that one next time. That
I
one
don't
I think
mind.
is a bit harder on the hard side. But I got one here. This one I think is
I
pretty
see. I
interesting.
see.
Um, okay, and we're
Okay.
doing okay. So we're good to get started roughly. Anything else you need me to know of ahead of time? Otherwise, I think we're just happy to just kind of get in there. Okay, let's do it.
No,
Cool, awesome.
I think so.
Thanks for volunteering. So let's do the first problem today.
Yeah.
We'll see how far we get, and then
Hmm.
we'll see what we do afterwards. We're gonna try to aim for it's 13:03 right now. We're gonna try to go for about 45 minutes of programming time, and then at the end we'll have time for feedback and
Hmm.
same old stuff. So this problem is gonna be
Hmm.
called
That's good.
graph bar tightness check. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be given a graph and you will return true if and only if the
Mm.
graph is bipartite.
Oh, okay, I see. Check if
Yep,
it's bipartite. Okay, sounds good.
yep,
And is
that's
that
the
all?
entire prompt. You're free to ask for clarification if you need.
Yeah, sounds good. Sorry, could you clarify on what it actually means
Yeah, so
called
in this
bipartite
case,
again?
so by the way, this is going to be an undirected graph, okay? So in this case, our
Mm-hmm.
undirected graph is going to be bipartite, if and only if the nodes, so the vertices,
Mm-hmm.
can be partitioned into two sets A and B,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are independent sets A and B, such as every edge
Mm-hmm.
in the graph connects to a node in set A and node in set B.
Oh, every
So
node
every edge in the graph
connects.
connects a node in set A and a node in set B.
Every edge connects. I see. I see. Every edge connects. Okay. Um. Okay. So you say, sorry. Let me just clarify this a little bit. So the nodes. So we're separating the nodes, right? Not the edges itself.
Yeah, so well, it's not separating just a logical construct. You don't actually separate anything, right? It's just that you return true if and
Yeah. Yeah.
only if it is possible
Mm.
to construct two sets A and B, right? And you can put
Two sets
nodes
A and
in
B.
A and
Yeah.
B with no overlap. Okay, independent sets A and B. And
Mm-hmm.
after this
Mm-hmm.
construction, it is true if and only if every edge connects a node in A to a node in B, or vice versa. It's undirected, right?
Every edge connects a node in A and in B. Sorry, the only thing I'm a little bit confused right now, when you refer to every edge, do you mean
Yep,
like their original
yep.
set of
The original
edges?
set of edges.
Ah, I see. every node connects, every edge connects the nodes in A and in B. I see. Um, sorry. So before we actually get into it, I'll just I'm just trying to like clarify, like I just trying to clarify what I actually understand, right? So let's say we have like a graph of like A connects B
Okay.
connects C, for example. So we would separate A and B into itself into a set and C into its own set, right?
So what are
Is
the
that
edges? The edges are A to B and B to C. So in
yeah?
this case, this graph is bipartite because you can put A and C into one set and then B into another set.
Oh,
And therefore, the graph is bipartite because every edge
oh,
connects
I
a node
see.
from set A to set B.
Every edge connect. Oh, the requirement is to connect
Or
from
vice
set
versa.
A to set
It's
B, right?
undirected.
Ah, I see, I see, I see. Connect set A to set B. I see. Okay, I see. Um, okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit stumble and
Okay.
um, okay. So, so from so from my initial understanding is that we want to like we want to set like to paraphrase it in my own
Uh huh.
words essentially is that we try to separate the nodes out such that there's a node in say there's a node in B that connects the nodes in A to B, right?
Uh,
Is,
can you say
is
how
that
you put into A and B? Can you go from the beginning?
um sorry because I don't quite
Okay.
understand it just yet. So so we have so let's say we have A
Okay.
connecting B connecting C, right? So you're saying that we're putting B into one set and A and
Yep.
C into the other set, and we're saying that uh this is bipartite because B connects to A and then B connects to C, right?
It's bipartite because the two edges, which is A, B, and B, C, all the edges fit the following condition. The
Uh,
condition is the edge must connect a node from A to node from B.
I see, I see. Oh, I see. Ah, so in other words, it also means that any nodes that are like neighboring or like adjacent to it cannot be in the same set, right?
Sorry, say it again. I was distracted by the chat. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So like in other words, like if um like any nodes are like connect any two nodes that are neighboring to each other, they cannot be the same set.
Yeah,
Is
that is a necessary condition. Yeah, that is true. That is a fact. Yes.
so if I have something like this, for example, I see. Okay, I
Well,
see.
so in this case,
Um,
this case this is still bipartite, right? Because you can put B into one set and
mm-hmm,
then A, D, and C into another set, and it would still be bipartite,
right.
right? Let me. Do you want
I
me to
see.
give you? Okay. Let
I
me help you
see.
out a little bit. Okay. So let me give you an example here.
Mm-hmm,
That looks something like this.
mm-hmm.
Let's do this. It's okay. It's okay if I just use a drawing board for you. It's a bit easier for me to draw than type out vertical lines. So let's
Yeah, yeah,
so
sure.
right. So you had
Yeah.
sorry. So you had A, B, and C like this, right? So in this case, we can put
Mm-hmm,
A and C into one group and B into a different group, and then now we see the
mm-hmm,
edge one and edge two, right?
mm-hmm.
All these edges fit the condition that it
Yeah.
connects two nodes from different groups, from different sets. Now, if I give you a graph that looks like
I see.
this, uh, let's do A, B, C, D, right? If I do this, these are edges, right?
Mm-hmm,
And then I add an edge over here from A to D. This graph is not bipartite, okay? So maybe it's easier for us to
Mm-hmm.
just do this first. Okay, just remove the initial the diagonal edge. Is this graph bipartite?
Um, it is because we could move A and group
Correct.
A and D
Correct.
and then B and C,
So
right?
so this is bipartite. Now if I add this
Mm.
edge, is this bipartite now? Okay, and why not?
No, because when we group, yeah, yeah, because if we do the same
Yeah.
grouping as before, like A and D, there's an edge exists between the two of them. Ah, I see now. Okay,
Yeah, so for this graph you will return false.
okay. Mm-hmm. I see. Okay, I see I see where it could be failing now. Okay.
Hmm.
If that was the case, hmm, because I'm trying to think of an approach right now of how I should be approaching this. Because if I were to say, if I were to try and generalize it, like if I were to say there, as long as that there are three nodes that have edge, is this is this between them? It would fail, but I'm not sure if I could generalize
Sorry,
that
say again. If
just yet.
there's like what's the condition for failing?
As yeah, yeah. So I was saying like, as long as like between the three nodes, as long as like their edges connecting like there are three edges that connecting all three nodes like immediate edges. So like A and D and B and C and B and D. I mean A and D, A and B and B and D. Then I would return false. But I don't think I could generalize that yet. Or at least I'm
Yeah,
not confident that
yeah,
I could
yeah. We
generalize
have
it
to be
like that.
careful, right? Because
Yeah.
just that there's a cycle is not a
Hmm.
necessary is not the sufficient condition, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is
I
so
see.
so what
Yeah. Because
property of three? Because a cycle of three is always not bipartite. Like I hope you notice that,
mm,
right?
that makes
Um,
sense.
right. So cycle three is not
Hmm.
bipartite. What is the characteristics of a
Hmm.
cycle of three that is not filled by a cycle of four, or vice versa? Because a cycle of four is bipartite, right? As we showed with the ABCD example, right? A cycle of four is bipartite. A
Hmm.
cycle of three, in this case, is not, right?
Is that?
What's the difference?
Hmm. Yeah. Um, there's an edge. Is this between any two pair of nodes?
That is a difference, but that's not
This is a
exactly the
pair.
condition necessarily. Why don't you draw out an example for cycle of five?
Mm,
Right? How about you draw a cycle of five, and you tell me
yeah.
if that's bipartite?
Yeah. We got A, B, oh, C, D, and D. So if so, like
Yeah.
it's like a normal
So
cycle,
is
right?
this bipartite?
So if I group A and D, C and B, D cannot go anywhere. Or if I group these two, oh sorry, these two, and E and B. No, I don't think this is bipartite either,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, this is not
Yeah.
bipartite
So
either
right. So
because yeah.
the kind of key property we're looking at here
Hmm.
is known as two colorability. Are you aware of two colorability?
Um,
Okay.
no, I am
Right. So
no, not really.
right.
I think
So
I'm
the
perfectly
pattern that we
aware.
need to
Yeah.
notice here is let's just take a subset of three of the graph. So let me get my pen. Where's my pen? Uh, how do I? Oh, it's over here. Yeah. So if we just look at, for
Hmm.
example, this subset of the graph, right? If we designate B to be
Hmm.
in set A and A to be, so A must be in set B,
I see.
right? It must be, right? There's no choice. Right now,
Hmm.
A is set B,
Makes
then
sense.
C must be set A. There's no choice, right?
Hmm.
So and so
Makes
we
sense.
can continue this logic. So if C is in set A, then E must be in set B, and then D must be in set A, and B must be set B. But that's a contradiction, right? So the property we're
Hmm.
looking for here specifically is that for all of a graph's neighbors, they must be a different set than your current node. They must be. Yeah.
Sorry, could you repeat
So
the last part?
the graph in this case, in this node, property we notice is that it can only be bipartite if for a node for all nodes, but let's just say node A for a node, all of its neighbors must be in the other set. They must be. And that property must be true
Right.
for all nodes in the graph.
I see. Oh, I see.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I see. So if I apply that understanding back to like
Yep.
the for cycle,
Yep.
so we got A, so we got B and
Yep.
C are neighbors of A, and they let's say we assume them in another graph. D,
Well, D is also a neighbor of A.
oh, I see. It's also okay, I see. I see, I see. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay. Um, if that was the case, okay. So if that was the case, then oh, sorry. Then I think my approach here would just follow like the logic
Okay.
that you've been going through. So like assuming a node, like given a node, I would just assume
Okay.
its neighbor in the opposite
Okay.
set. And I think my approach here would be like having two different sets and like have two different set. Yeah, have
Okay.
two different sets, and then I would just take a random node, and then I would add all the neighboring nodes to it to the
Hold on.
other
Hold on. What
set,
do you mean by take a random node?
and then yeah, like say for example, like it's sorry, let me. So say for example, right, like let's say I was given like a adjacency list. I could just take like like one of the node, like let's say the first pair of nodes,
Okay.
right? I just take the first
Sure.
node, A for example, and then I would add any neighboring nodes to like its neighboring node to
Okay.
the other set. Like let's say like set 2 for example, and I would add the current node to set 1. And then for the next node, I would double check like is it neighboring node exists in any of the
Yes.
sets? Like essentially I would check if I could
Yes, that makes
access
sense.
the other
Okay, no,
set
it's
or not.
fine. It's just that you said the word
And then
random node. I didn't want to make sure we're not actually doing random nodes. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay. So I think I could go with that approach. So like it's somewhat similar to it's somewhat a greedy approach that keeps adding the set. It keeps adding the nodes to two different sets until it cannot
Okay.
do it anymore, and then we return
Okay.
true or false
Yeah,
based
that
on
makes
that.
sense.
Does that make sense so far? Okay, sounds good. And I would assume that the input for the graph would be
Yes, that's fine. Yep.
adjacency listed. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I can just implement this real quick then. So oh, I would say check by part type. So then, so let's say I have a list of edges, and I guess they would be represented as like integer, like they each have their own ID, for example.
Sorry, yeah, what's that?
Hello? Oh, sorry. I would assume that each node is represented by
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
like a
unique
unique
ID,
number.
right?
That's fine. Yeah, like two
Like
numbers. Yeah.
a number. Okay, sounds good. So, like we mentioned, we could have like two different sets called say set 1 and set 2, for example. And then I'm gonna start iterating through the list of edges. Okay, see. So what can I do here? So given an edge A and B, for example, so what can I do first? Maybe what I can do first is to first check if A is in either set 1 or 2, for example. If it's in neither, then add it. Oh, let's yeah. So I would have to so the node that I'm working with right now, the current node is say node A, and then I would have node B. So I would have to check like if not, I guess I would have to check if node B is in either set 1 or 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what can I do here? Um, at each iteration, there's a chance that A and B is already sorted into either sets. Well, I could have like an invariant. Well, yeah. So, let's see. So if I have, so let's say I have A, B, D. Sorry, I'm still
Okay,
trying on
yeah, I'm
the
looking
try
at you.
mode, by the way. So yeah. So if I have A, B, and D, and let's say I encounter D and A and D and B first. So D and A and D and B. That would mean that D would probably in set 1, and A and B would probably be in set 2. And then when I encounter A and B, what can I do? Um, so first, I would have to first check where A is and where B is, and then I would have to check if they are in the same set. If they are in the same set, then I would have to return false. But if one of them is not in the set, then I can add it to the other set, or I can, yeah. If A isn't, if neither one is in any set, then I can just randomly add them. Like the A can go in set 1 or B can go in set 2, for example. Um, sorry, I'm rambling a bit right now. Um, okay, okay. So yeah, I think I would have to first check if A if they belong to any set. So say for example, um, um, so yeah, sorry. I would have to first grab the nodes first, and then like I mentioned, I'm gonna check if node A is in either set. So I'm gonna check if um say your set ID, for example, for A would be set. No, that's ah sorry. I don't know why, but I'm
Uh
getting a
huh.
little bit I'm getting a little bit stumbled here. Um okay. So if A doesn't belong to any sets, do I just randomly add it to one of the set right away, or what do I do? That's my main question right now. Same thing for B as
Well,
well.
you can't randomly add it to a set, right?
So
That might not be the correct set.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, in because my thinking right now, like in a sense that I think I could do that. Uh, because like if say for example, um, if if A is not
Uh
in
huh.
either set, like if A is in not in
Okay.
set 1 or set 2, that means that the node A has never been encountered
Yes.
before, right? So it doesn't really matter if I add to 1 or add it to 2. So that's my notion of like adding to a random set.
Is that
Does
is
that
that
make
true though?
sense? Because
If A has not been encountered, is it actually safe to put it in any random set? Like what? Like why do you think that is safe?
um it's it's safe because like the invariants that the assumption I'm working right now is like at the start of every
Uh huh.
iteration of the loop, uh like my current configurations for the sets are
Okay.
correct. So like given, yeah. So like, because like in the example of A, D, and B, and
Okay.
we have a cycle of three. So D is added to a set, and A and B are added to the other
Right.
sets, right? Like, yeah. So up until we see the edge A and B, that configuration is correct because we only saw A and
Yeah.
D and B and B, right? But the moments, so if the set, say the set C has never been encountered in there, so there's no edge that disprove uh there's
Uh
no
huh.
edge that disprove the
Right.
configurations here.
Right.
That's
So
what I meant.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that I so far agree with, but does that mean that it can be disproved?
Mhm. Sorry, what do you
Okay.
mean?
Let's try this
It
example out.
can
So let's
be.
say I'll draw above your example here.
Mhm,
Right. Let's say we have
mhm,
A, B, C. Just very easy. A, B, C, D. Right. Line. Okay. Let's say
mhm,
the first, and let's
mhm,
say so you have a pair, you have a vector, so you have a list of edges, basically, right? Is like that, like that's your input is a
uh-huh.
list of edges, right? Let's say your list of edges in
Yeah.
order such that you see A and B first, and then you see C and D next. Okay.
Mhm,
And then the other stuff,
mhm,
and then third you see B to C, right? So that we still don't care about that.
yeah.
So first you process A to B.
Yeah.
You assign it randomly. Doesn't matter. So let's simply A in group A
Mhm,
and B in group B. It has to be in group B, right?
mhm,
Right. So this is fine. This is correct.
yeah.
Right now you encounter C and D. Okay. So now how do you assign the groups? Tell me how you assign the groups.
Mhm. I would add
But why
C
not
to
C to
A
B and
and
D
D
to
to
A?
B. C to B and D to A. Ah, I see. Yeah, you're right. Mhm. So if we add B, C to B and D to A, then on the next
Yep.
iteration I would fail. I see. I see. Okay, so I was a little bit hasty with my approach. That's for sure. Um, mhm. So what can I do? What can I do in this case
The
then?
easiest thing to do in this case would just be to make a real graph. Make a real graph so that you can traverse
Hmm.
in a predictable order. If your invariant is instead that, well, well, you can have more than one invariant, right? But if you have an invariant such that your edges are always ordered in, for example, DFS order or even BFS order, that would be sufficient for you to never encounter two nodes that are both unseen previously, right? Because this is only an issue if you see two nodes that are both unseen.
Mm, I see. I see. Um, Sorry, do you mind throwing out an example for that? Because I'm
Sure.
having a really hard time
Yeah.
seeing it. Yeah.
So the issue here, oh, whoops, that's not the right thing. The issue here that you're encountering is that you don't have the, like, you don't have. Oh, where's my pen? Like, uh, your issue is that is that you don't know how to assign the nodes because both nodes in the edge are unseen, right? If
Mm-hmm.
instead
Yeah.
of if you were
Yeah.
instead able to construct a graph instead of just having a list of edges, then you would always
Mm-hmm.
be able to guarantee there's both nodes that are always seen in the past. So before
Oh,
solving the bipartite problem, how
I
about
see.
you actually generate a graph
Mm-hmm.
given these edges, such that you can traverse them
I
based on
see.
neighbors and
Okay.
not based on arbitrary pairs of nodes?
I see. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Um, Sorry, just a follow up on that. So what you're proposing right now, so that instead of like adding only like assigning only one node at a time to either set, you're saying that I should assign all the neighbors of a node to a set and then this node to the other set, right? Like to make sure that I see all
Yeah,
the nodes
well,
first.
so that is one way to do it, but the less strong implication is that if you have a graph structure, then instead of just
Mm-hmm.
a list of pair of edges, then what you would be able to do is start at an arbitrary node which you can designate the root, doesn't matter, and then from there you
Mm-hmm.
would arbitrarily designate the roots set, right? Because without loss of generality, you can like the root set can be anywhere. It doesn't matter, right? So without loss of generality, you can set the root
Mm-hmm.
to be
Yeah.
A, and then all the neighbors must be B,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can perform a
Mm-hmm.
traversal from there. And if you traverse given the
Mm-hmm.
neighbors, right, by definition, then the one of the nodes of the pair must be already in a set. So you would never encounter the situation where both nodes
I
are
see.
not known.
Ah, I see. I see. I see. I see what you mean. Okay. Um. Okay. I see what you mean. Okay. If that's the case, then we so like you mentioned, we can construct a graph first. Then what I can do is a hash map to to map a
Okay.
node with its neighbor, and the construction of the graph should be pretty simple. What I could do is that for every edge that I encounter, I would add um I would add the I would add its pair
Yep.
to its neighbor. So I would add yeah I would add so we have two node first and second. I would add the second node as a neighbor of the first node and vice versa. I'm gonna do that um for the second node as well because it's a
Yep. Yep.
unidirectional graph, right? So yeah, that should give us a graph. And then what we could do is next is like you mentioned, we could yeah like you mentioned, we could traverse the graphs such that like no pairs are unseen. Okay, yeah. So given a root, okay, I see. But on the first iteration, the roots would be
Yes,
unseen, right?
the very first node you check will
Uh,
be unseen, but that one you can assign arbitrarily because without
mm,
loss of generation, or generalization, it can be either A or B. That doesn't matter, right? So the very first node you can
that
arbitrarily
makes sense.
assign.
I see, I see. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess then we can have like uh a we can have a traversal and then do the checking for the two sets at the same time. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna start create two sets. Let's say set one, set two, for example. I'm gonna pick a random node. Um, yeah, I'm gonna pick a random node to start it as root. And how do I do that? How do I do that? Yeah, maybe I'll just do graph first, for example. And I'll take the first one. Uh, if I, sorry, grab the begin and I'll grab the first one. So this should give me a random node, any node. So I'll just think of this
Okay.
as the root node, for example. And then I can start traversing it. Um, root DFS, for example. Um, since we could since we could add the root node to anything, to any of the set, I'll just add it to set one, for example. Okay, so now what can we do? So we're gonna be traversing the node. So let's see, this is a node and this is the map. This where? I mean the graph.
Okay.
And uh we're gonna have the two sets that we're working with. set one and set two, for example. Okay. Um, we should probably have a visited as well, but okay. So I guess like at every level, like at every node, I would add the the current node to set one first, assuming that I haven't seen it, and then I'll add all of its children to set two. Does that sound
You're
correct
gonna
so
add
far?
all of his children to set two. Okay. And you're gonna add the current node to set one.
Well, yeah,
Why would you add it to
yeah.
set one and not set two?
Um,
I'll put it this way, right? If you if you start your
mhm,
DFS with the root, the root is already in
mhm,
set one, right?
yeah,
And so you know that this node is in set
mhm,
one already, right? So you don't need to touch
yeah,
this node set. It's already added to a set. And in fact,
mhm,
because you're given set one and set two in this DFS, you should be able to determine what set this node currently is in. And
mhm,
per iteration, you can add it. You can add the children or the neighbors rather to the other set. So in other
mhm,
words, in your DFS function, the
yeah.
first parameter will always already be in a set.
I see. Oh, and then I would check which set it belongs to and add
Yep.
all the children to the other set. I see. I see. I see. Ah, I see what you mean now. So check which node it belongs to. Okay. Okay, I see what you mean now. So I guess so I guess we would have to check which set it belongs to. So uh say node set, for example, and I would check which one it belongs to. So if it's belong to one, uh then then if it belongs to one, sorry, let's try this again. I would have to find the other set to add it. So so if set one has the current node, then I would give it set two. Oh, sorry. Then I would give it set two, but if not, I would give it set one
Okay.
instead. Yeah. That makes sense. And now I'm gonna iterate through. I'm gonna go through the list of children. So I'm gonna do child graph node, for example. So if child, so if set one is in um, so set one cannot find if it's if set one has the child node, uh, then I will just return false, right? I guess it's down. Yeah, then I would just return false. If not, I would just keep adding it to um, if not, then I would just keep adding it to uh
Okay.
to the other set. Yeah,
But you're saying set
if
one
not, I
dot
would just
find
keep
child
adding.
return false. Why is it not set two dot find child?
Ah, here. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Sorry, I should have done this set, for example. I guess I would have to do the same thing here. Um, and set 2. Yeah. So I would have to check the current set that the root set is in, and if it finds the child, then I'll just return false. If not, then I'll insert it to the other set first, and then I would have to do another iteration down here to do the depth stage. So down here I would do, say for example, I would have to go through the list of children again, and then I would first check depth search of the children of the child. So I would pass the child. I'll start checking the child, pass in a graph, and set 1, set 2. So if it's false, then I can just return false, because then that means that it cannot be
Mm-hmm.
partitioned. But if it's true, uh, if it's true, then it can keep can keep moving, and then I can return false here. Return true here. I would need to do another check, another base case here, uh so that I wouldn't have to go to the same
Mm-hmm.
node over and over again. Um, so let's see. If this node is, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I could also just pass in another set to see if it's already been visited. So if it's already been visited, then I can just ignore it. Um, then I can just return true. And the reason I think I should return true here is because if it fails, if the condition if it visited once and it fails, I think it's gonna just return false and stop traversing the
Mm-hmm.
first place. So I think I should be able to assume this.
Okay.
Does this does that function make sense so
Yeah,
far?
that makes sense.
Okay. And then I guess in here, um like in the original function, in the main function, I can just return whatever the result of traversing give me. So just have root and then the graph, set 1, set 2, and visit it, which I have not made yet. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that should be correct.
Anything else that we need to go
Mm-hmm.
over before we go to complexity analysis?
Not
Okay.
that I could think
Let's
of.
go to the complexity then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Time and space. What do you think?
Yeah. We can
Okay.
first go through the space first, because yeah, the space should also indicate the time as well. So for space, I guess it grows in the number of nodes. So however many nodes it is, because yeah. So let's say we have n number of nodes. Uh, let's say we have n number of nodes, then the graph should grow to n number of entries, and the vectors, like in the worst case, like all the nodes are connected to each other. In the worst case, each node has n minus one neighboring node, but that should just be, if in the worst case, if each node is connected with all the other nodes, n minus one neighboring nodes. Sorry, so that's mean that we have
Okay.
n nodes, and then for each node we have n minus one neighboring
But
nodes.
why do we have n minus one neighboring nodes?
Uh, if it's connected to like if all the nodes are
Oh, if it's like a
connected to
fully
each other.
connected graph?
Yeah, but yeah, like a fully connected graph. So
Oh,
I'm
okay. What
thinking
if
of
we
like
assume
the
the
worst
branching
case
factor is
scenario
b
here.
instead of n minus 1? I mean,
Sorry?
like that's definitely a worst case. We don't have to assume that though. I think for now, let's assume that the branching factor, aka the median number of neighbors per node, is b.
Hmm. So I guess that would give us like the size of this graph here would be O of n times b,
Okay.
right? And then
Mm-hmm.
for the set one and set two, set one and the size of set one uh uh if the graph could be bipartite, so like it doesn't terminate early, the size of set one plus the size of set two should be equal to the size of to the number of nodes. So that would give us O of n for size of set one plus set two. Same thing for visited as well. So each node can only be visited once. So it's and there are n nodes. So it's gonna boil down to O of n space complexity for
Okay.
visited as well. And because of that, it should give us the final space complexity of O of n times b.
Does
Yeah.
a DFS not require extra space?
Do you have any questions? Um. Oh. Uh. It it does require extra space for the call stack. Yeah, I wasn't accounting for that as well. Usually, when we consider space complexity, do we account for the call
Depends
stack
on
as
the
well?
size of the call stack. That depends on the size of the call stack.
Sorry. I see.
But
So
yes, you would generally account
I
for it
see. I
because
see.
otherwise, because it still requires your memory.
Mm-hmm. I see. Um. If that was the case, then it should like if we really think about the worst case scenario where all the nodes are connected
Mm-hmm.
in a line, for example, then the call stack would also be just as bad as there would be as many call stack as the number of nodes that we traverse to. So then we would have essentially all of n memories for the call stack as well,
Yep, that
if
makes
that
sense.
makes sense. Okay. So I guess yeah, uh in ca- um in general, we should have an O of n times b, considering depending on how big b
Mm-hmm.
is.
And your time complexity you're saying is O times B as well. Is that what the top one is?
Um,
Mm-hmm.
for the time complexity, um, yeah, it should be about the same because we also going through all the neighboring nodes for each node. So there would be b children, and we do that n times. So it should also be O of n times b as well. Yeah.
Is that the sorry? Can you say the last part? Why is it times B?
Yeah, because so we also have um we also have like b like on average, right? Like we also have like
Okay.
b children node for like b neighboring nodes for each node, and since we're visiting each node once, since we're visiting each node once and we're
Yep.
visiting n nodes, that would give us
Okay.
n times b for every single time
Yep.
we visit them. So that should be the space as well. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay, let's wrap it up here then. Um,
Hmm.
good problem. Good problem. I think let's start from the top, right? How do you feel about this problem?
Hmm.
What were the challenges that you were facing, and how do you feel like you did?
I I feel like I messed it up really, really badly this time. Like I think I one thing that I realized about myself, I think I did this before as well. It's like when I encounter a problem that's somewhat similar to what I've seen before, and I remember what the answer was. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't quite remember what the answer was. Like I started to like panic real bad. Like for example, like for this problem, like checking for bipartite, like I just learned this in class as well. So like it was so like in my mind, there was no excuse for me to like mess it up
Hmm.
this badly. So like I like halfway through I panicked a lot and yeah, and it was hard to like reason it through while
Yeah,
panicking.
yeah. I mean, that's a skill you have to practice, right? Like even when you're in a panic
Mm-hmm.
situation, right? I mean, some people, right? If you have that stress, if you know how to deal with that stress, you can push through. But most people, you gotta know how to slow down, right? Slow down, take a breath,
Mm-hmm.
and then recover, right? Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna dig
Mm-hmm.
yourself into a deeper and deeper hole. Um, all right, yeah. So let's go
Mm-hmm.
over this problem then. So, graph bipartiteness, right? This is a pretty classic, school academic problem. Um, you know, we spent
Mm-hmm.
we spent the first about 17 minutes going over the setup of the problem, right? That's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be the biggest time save in this case, right? I mean, for like
Mm-hmm.
most problems, it's actually okay to spend that long if the problem is more intricate, if it's more precise, if there's some
Mm-hmm.
limitations or whatnot, right? But like you said, right, for a problem like this where
Mm-hmm.
there's no ambiguity, it is a very straightforward definition. It's either you know it or you don't, right? You either
Mm-hmm.
know how bipartiteness is defined or you don't know how it's defined, and it's okay if you don't know how it's defined. But I
Mm-hmm.
would personally expect that even if you don't know how it's defined, but you know how graphs are if you know how to represent graphs, like you know adjacency list, these like whatever it is that however you choose to represent graphs. If you know about these things, I think it's pretty hard to justify spending 17 minutes on the setup, right? So what I'll do for you generally is
Yeah.
just go brush up on all of the graph terminologies, right? Go brush up on all of
Yeah.
those, figure out the
And
definitions of that, and then you can do like a quick toy problem per each terminology, just so you can kind of get a feel for what that is, right?
mm-hmm.
Typically
Mm-hmm.
speaking, for a problem like, for example, graph bar tightness, um, this is actually a rephrasing of a problem that is the equivalent solution, which is checking if a graph has odd cycles. This is what I don't think you noticed, but a graph is
Oh,
bipartite if and only if there are no odd cycles. But regardless, right? So
I
problems
see.
like this are the case that it's a case that even if you don't know, you haven't seen it before, which is fine, right? Most people haven't seen this before. That's okay. You should still be able to quickly figure out what is the property that we're testing for, right? Like in other words, you can almost metagame it a little bit, right? Like think about
Mm-hmm.
it this way, right? So we're doing this problem, right? It's a graph problem. We must traverse it, right? That's how it
Mm-hmm.
works. So we're gonna traverse it. What are we checking for on a traversal? That's the kind of question you should be thinking of. How do we make
Mm-hmm.
this problem into a conditional traversal, right? That's the main thing. And I think if you
I
think about it
see.
from that perspective, it can help you out in general for these graph problems.
I see. I
Okay,
see.
cool. So right, so bipartiteness, right? One thing I will also say is that when you're drawing diagrams, um,
Mm-hmm.
start with the easy ones, right? So start with the basic case, like what we did with AB, ABC, etc., right? So the basic cases, right? And in
Mm-hmm.
this case, I had to draw
Mm-hmm.
an example which was not bipartite, right? Some attributors will take that as a negative signal. In other words, right, like if the
I see.
function is returning a boolean, you have to have one case which is true and one case which is false, right? Like that's just how it works. So
Yeah.
when you think about that way, you should at least
Yeah.
communicate. Okay, I'm
Makes
gonna
sense.
draw the true case first, and then give me a second. I'm gonna think about the other case, and then come up with the right. Otherwise, the interviewer will be worried
Mm.
because the not like the false case is the more difficult case. Right. So be aware that when you're
Mm-hmm.
drawing diagrams like this, you should account for the problem that we're actually solving. Right. So that's gonna be the odd cycle
Mm-hmm.
condition. Next thing
Mm-hmm.
about right. So yeah, this one required a couple of hints. Right. That's fine. Um, but I think you need to be more vocal about which hints are useful, which ones aren't useful, and be vocal in the sense that like if you feel like a hint that was just given is really good, and you want to process it for a bit, you should slow the
Mm-hmm.
interviewer down and give you a chance to think about it, right? In this case, the hint given was all
Mm.
the way
I see.
from here's an example of a non-bipartite graph, all the way to me outlining the fact that this is a two colorability problem, which means that you need all
Yeah, that's
adjacent
true.
nodes to be in the other group, right? Once
Mm-hmm.
that is said, that is
I
basically
see.
the entire algorithm, and the rest is just implementation, right? So
I see.
if you had between any of
Mm-hmm.
those points,
That's
if
true.
you had the initiative or you had a bit of at least intuition to recognize that, you should at least stop the interviewer and give yourself a chance to think about that. Because you
I
have to think
see. I
about it from
see.
the interviewer's perspective. If we're already 17 minutes in and you have not thought of the algorithm, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
fail. Like you're just gonna fail the problem,
Yeah.
right? So I have to give you more and more hints
Mm-hmm.
so that we
That's true.
aren't stuck on that.
That's
Okay.
true. That
Any
makes
questions
sense.
about the theory or the algorithm?
Mm-hmm. Um. So for so when you say like this is like I should uh um like I should recognize like the like what we're checking for as we traverse. When you say like this is like a odd number cycle, like um yeah, odd length
Yeah.
cycle, right? So like for that, like when like on an interview, like when I come up with like some intuition as that, like should I like I'm not very confident into immediately say that yeah it's an off length, like so I need to so like 'cause I remember jumping into some kind of some kind of assumptions here, but I knew like part of me understand that
Okay.
I was wrong as well, so I didn't want to go with it. So like how do you know like do you just like go with your intuition and be like, oh, so that's what you feel like, so do you want to keep going at it, or
I don't know what you're
like do
trying
you
to
know what
say,
I'm
but
trying
what
to
I
say?
can
Like
say
it's
is that yeah,
like
your intuition is
mm,
oftentimes not correct, but that's okay because if you have no other intuition, that's the only thing you can go
mm,
off of, right? So it's not a choice you really have. The way I would phrase it, I would say, oh, I think
that's
this
true.
is a problem that involves odd length cycles, right? But I'm gonna put that aside for a bit and think about this thing. Think about whatever thing else you're thinking about, right? And if that doesn't work out, I'm gonna come back to odd number cycles, and it might
Mm,
not work out, might work out, and you might be okay. If it doesn't work out, you come back to odd number cycles. You can ask, hey, is this the
I
right
see.
path we should be following, etc. Right? Generally speaking, if you've already gone down an incorrect path, the interviewer will be more likely to help you onto the correct path because well, they got the signal. They knew that your intuition was poor on the first
Mm,
part, but they don't need to test your intuition again, right? They already knew it was wrong the
right.
first time. Like they can help you on this part and test your ability to do, for example, implementation, right? So I would say generally you can be vocal about it and
Mm,
just
I
indicate that you're
see.
not sure, so you'll come back to it in the future.
I see. I see. I see. Okay, that makes sense. And sorry, another thing that I wanted to ask about, like, it's less about the theory of the problem itself, but like, because I was a little bit afraid of like feeling like the interview uh with
Yeah,
silence, because I remember one of the advice that you gave in general was like I should like talk like think out loud. So like, was it was it wrong of me like was what I did wrong? Because like I remember like I ramble on a lot and like it's going
that's a
nowhere as
balance.
well. So like
That's a
I wanted
balance.
to
The way I would phrase it
yeah,
is, if you need time to
okay.
think, just say, I'm gonna think about this for a bit. Give me a moment, right? Otherwise, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rambling as well is not good. But it's the worst thing is if you don't say
Mm-hmm.
anything for a period and I don't know what you're trying to do. Right? That's the worst. So in terms of the worst is to
Mm,
not say anything. The next worst is to ramble about things that are not correct. And the least worst is to say I need some time to
that's
think, give
true.
me a moment, and then come back.
I see. Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, that's definitely a skill that I need to
Yeah, it
work up
takes
on as well.
practice.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, just to wrap this up then, the last
Mm-hmm.
thing I'll say
Thank you
is
so much.
implementation wise, a couple notes. Um, right, first, okay, time
Mm-hmm.
complexity is correct, but you should not be. Worst case is worst case given the situation, not worst case given some arbitrary input in a sense, right? Like, yes, it's possible that a graph is fully
Mm,
connected, but the way you should be thinking about that is that you can
right.
define the connectedness by using the branching factor. So that's okay to use as a variable, right? That's the first thing you should do. The second thing is,
Ah,
what was I gonna say? Yeah, the second thing is yeah, graph generation. That's fine. I think it took a bit too long to actually decide to make a graph. That was a part which you shouldn't have gotten stuck on, to be honest. But I think that's another practice.
mm-hmm.
Another thing you can practice. One more thing is when you have two sets, sets one and set two, whatever the problem is, right? If you have two anything, two variables, and they don't really matter. It just matters that there's two of them, right?
Mm.
It's oftentimes better
Yeah.
to, instead of having logic every cycle to check that, which doesn't add complexity. It doesn't add complexity, but it's not clean, and it can get yourself confused. Is
Mm.
just in the
Mm.
parameters itself, just to pass in this and other, and then in your recursive call, just to swap them.
That's true.
Right, this is a pattern that you should recognize
That's
because
true.
it will save you a lot of code. Otherwise, you
I
can
see.
consider, for example, bringing the visited call into the DFS check so that you don't even add to the call stack if the visited node is next. That's a optimization you can make.
Mm. That makes
And
sense.
what else was there nodes wise?
That makes sense.
The booleans are correct. The booleans people get twisted on, but I think you got those correct, so that's actually pretty good. No, I think that's all. I think that's all the nodes.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple notes on implementation for you to improve, but most of the time it's going to be about right getting to the implementation phase.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay. Any other
Okay.
questions?
That makes sense. No, not for now. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No worries. All right.
That
It's
was
great.
really
It's great
helpful.
to do another one with you. Take care.
That's great.
Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
All righty. It is resume review time. Is it? I think it is. Yeah. Let's pull it up. Where is it? Here it is. I should probably title this right. Yeah. What am I doing? Okay. I'll just release the form on YouTube first, so people who are tuning in on time get priority. Submit resume. And then I'll post it on Discord as well. What's today's date? 30th, right? Okay. And then, oh, I didn't do an announcement. Whatever. Resume reviews happening live. Live stream. Copy. Okay. Let's see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? How's everyone doing, by the way? Oh my goodness. I'm like kind of tired today. I'm like kind of tired. What the heck? So some water. What is everyone doing? Good. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. Resume reviews. Submit in Google form in comments. Yeah, no worries. I'll be here till 3. Although, wait, when does the event start again? 6. Okay, we're good. Is there voice chat? There is no voice chat. We've floated that in the past, but it just takes too long. Like people. I mean, like no offense, right? But people just spend a lot of time yapping about things that I don't find relevant about the resume. And you got to keep in mind, in a real resume review, in a real situation with the recruiter or the hiring manager is looking at resume, you do not have a chance to defend yourself. So the resume has to stand by itself. That's kind of what I'm getting. The resume has to stand by itself. If it doesn't stand by itself, it doesn't really matter what you say after the fact, right? Because you won't get a call back. So no, if there's a lot of strong feedback, we can consider adding that back. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, it doesn't actually help with the review. Like it can help you explain why you did something the way it is, but that doesn't really change the fact that you gotta change it at the end of the day, right? So that it's just too slow. We did it in the past. I think currently the way I do them, I can get through a resume in about 5 minutes with a pretty detailed review. I mean, typically at the end of the session, I go really fast because I go overtime and I want to get through people's in the queue. But in the when we used to have them on the voice chat, they used to take up like 10 minutes minimum, 15 minutes. So yeah, so it was really slow. And honestly, it's not very fair because in an hour we can only get through about 5 to 6 resumes, and we usually have a lot more submitted. So yeah, it's just how it is. Anyways, let's get started. So this is today. Starts today. And let's go. Streaming OC sounds sick. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. I think that's really interesting. I'm usually not a top 100er, obviously. I think my best score was like, oh, I don't know what it was. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Wait, let me find. I'm actually kind of curious now. You know why? Like, cause we're waiting for resumes to come in anyways. Let's just take a look. I think my highest score was under 1,000, but it wasn't that much under 1,000. That's 600. I think this was my best day. Day 17 last year, I got 290, or yeah, 262. Which problem was that one? Simulating. What are we simulating? I don't remember anymore. Yeah, I remember one of these days I did pretty good on, but most of the time I'm like low 1,000 kind of thing. Anyways, we have a submission here. This person who submitted in the chat, you're gonna have to anonymize your resume. I'm sorry. Your name's at the top. Your name has to go too. I'm not getting another copyright strike on that one. Sorry, you have to resubmit. Okay, how about this guy? This guy did anonymize it. Okay. Let's go with this guy first then. What's going on? I understand it also helps you not get influenced by people trying to explain it. Yeah, I mean, look, to be clear, I don't actually mind being influenced. It's just that it doesn't help you, right? Like, because you can't influence a hiring manager by speaking to them, right? So it's for you, not for me. I already know what's going on here, right? Okay, watch a video of a dude who gets questioned in like 5 minutes. They don't even read the question. Yeah. Yeah. How to set PDF? I don't set PDFs. PDFs these days are like so giga hacked. I'm not downloading PDFs. I'm sorry. Yeah, so just image files. You can't really, as far as I know, there's no XSplits for PNGs, so that's kind of where we're at. Okay, so this person's comment. Still trying to land something in Jan 2025. Doesn't look like it's going to be getting anytime soon. Received like 20 rejections in the last 4 days. Thanks for your help. Yeah, so 2025 January, this is sort of like the Canadian hiring. You're a Canadian, are you? Yeah, you're Canadian. So this is the Canadian hiring cycle. Even Canadian hiring cycle is a bit late, right? January, we're December now, basically. That's going to be unlikely unless you get like a smaller local company, right? Just to set your expectations on that one. But let's have a look just in general, like not just in January, but just in general. Let's take a look at the resume, okay? So what's going on here? This is good. Oh, that's black. Don't like black. Let's do what should we do today? Let's do purple. That's good. That's fine. Scholarships are good to put in if they don't take up much room, which they don't. So that's good. So you have a work. So this is 2026. So okay, this is 2 years ago now. Yeah, 2 years ago now. You have projects here, a co-op footer. Okay, that's understandable. Engineering intern, Dart Flutter, PostgreSQL. Oh, I think I saw this one yesterday. Not yesterday, last week, right? Right, this is changed now. Reduce child latency with 30% Docker container. Yeah, this is good. So this point is good now, right? That's quantified. Using Go gRPC justifies the latency improvement, right? So this makes sense now. Improve average instant triaging time, 20%. Blah 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 blah. That's fine. Yeah, this is fine. This is good now. Yeah, this is all good now. Okay. Technical projects. Right, this is the open. I don't really understand. This one I didn't really understand, but I think it's fine. It's just that it's not in my toolkit, so I don't understand this, but it's fine. Also, I think that's a lowercase s. Integrated ID offering. Oh, right, this one. Yeah, this one's pretty cool. I think this is a pretty good one, and I know that you quantify by saying under a second. I think this is a fine way to quantify this, so that's fine. I think it would be cool if you could also quantify the performance of the autocomplete system. I know for a lot of IDE slash tokenizer slash ASTs, autocomplete's a non-trivial function. So if you can like talk a little bit about that, that could be kind of cool too. What is this typing game? Oh, this is a typing game. Yeah, this makes sense. I don't think this is like changed from last time, from what I can tell. But yeah, this is fine as is. I think. Like at this point, this is no longer the focus, right? Like keep in mind when people read a resume, they're reading the top part, the work experience, and a couple projects. They might not even read a project, to be honest, right? So your projects, hopefully are ordered in a reasonable order. So if they don't have the technology which they're specifically looking for, a lot of times they won't even look at it. Like this one for data science, I can imagine is actually very strong. For example, something like Python Qt5, like that's for UI, right? And Perl I don't know what that Q scintilla thing is, right? If companies aren't looking for these technologies, your recruiter will likely not see this at all, right? So just keep in mind that's how that kind of works. Or this is K&N stuff. Yeah, this is fine. Stuff at the bottom is fine. Oh, so you have lowercase s here, but you have high. Okay, doesn't matter. The main thing here, I think, is regarding jobs. January is going to be a bit of it's going to be a bit of a rough one. Okay, it's coming up too soon. Local companies, I would focus that. And if you're going for local companies, this is going to be a very rare situation that I'm going to recommend that you take the time to write a couple cover letters. Okay. I very rarely say this, but if you're going for something in January, then you might need to pull out the cover letters targeting specific hiring managers at those smaller companies to kind of get your foot in the door. That's not a good use of your time otherwise, but if you're dead set on January, that's what I would do if I were you. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Did the guy resubmit from previously? Yes, he did. Okay. Then I'm going to look at this person first because they resubmitted. Cool. Okie dokie. This is fine. I don't know what this is, by the way. Hopefully you have GitHub, you have your LinkedIn, you have an email. Email minimum, right? Email minimum. Hopefully you have GitHub, LinkedIn as well there. Some people put their location you're living in. Some people put their phone number. I don't think those are necessary, but you can put those there as well. Okay, 2025, so you're like almost graduating. That's fine. How's the room looking? Room's looking at slightly tight. So you could, like, for example, combine these into one line, right? Okay, skills, that's fine. I would split that up into two. That's fine. Yeah, that's all fine. Okay. Experience, we have 2 of those, and then we have 2 projects. Dates looking pretty reasonable, right? So this is this is quite long. This is 8 months, right? 8 months. Okay. Yeah, 8 months. Okay. And then this is 20. So this is like right up. So this is like adjacent. Okay, so you were working for about a year, right? Okay. And then these projects. This is Wait, what? These dates don't make sense. Fix the dates. This is March to May. Okay, cool. All right, so let's look at the experience. Open source Valkey. I don't know what that is. Lux Glide client. Wait, that sounds familiar. Valkey commands Java client enhancing functionality user command options. Yeah, that makes sense. Engage in comprehensive integration unit testing, JUnit, ensuring high quality, and unit testing. Develop the proof of concept for the setting groundwork for future implementations. This feels like it's a bit related to the first point. I would probably, if I were you, I would probably combine these into one, right? So contributed to the open source client through developing prototypes, through developing prototypes for estimation, for cost estimation, then following through with implementing the 50 commands. I think that makes sense. You can put them together. Right now, especially if you're separating them by a unit test point, it feels a bit out of place. At the very least, I will put these 2 adjacent to each other. Create a benchmarking app for blah 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 blah. 200% improvements. This is fine. I would be a bit more specific about the improvements. So for example, you're saying, this sort of thing like Redis, right? I would say retrieval performance, retrieval latency, throughput, network load. Which will be a bit more specific about the performance, but I think otherwise this point is fine. Also, I'm assuming this exercise is a company name. I think, yeah, that's fine, honestly, but I still prefer putting the company name at a higher indent level than the title. But that's a detail. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Okay, so this is before then, implemented, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine, pretty straightforward. Facilitating QA automation. Endpoints facilitating QA automation. Okay, I believe that. Yeah, another unit test point. I would say between the two, I would just only have one unit test point. That's not very relevant, to be honest, especially if you have a unit test over here. I will put unit testing there somewhere, like JUnit there or Mockito. Oh yeah, wait, do you have Mockito? I will put Mockito here in like frameworks and technologies or something. I will put like Mockito there. And you don't need to actually say it in both of these points. I think that's a bit redundant. It's a bit too much room. Support a key processor, key design, improving system performance. Yeah, that's good. Quantifying is better, but I know that's more than a year ago now, so that's fine. Agile environment. Ooh, agile environment. Do you have GitLab here? You have Git here. Do you have Agro Jenkins? You have Jenkins. Okay, so I think this point is, I think what I'll do is I will get rid of the unit test point here. I will keep this point. That's fine. It's a bit excessive though. So for example, in the future, if you want to add more points, you want to add more experience, I will get rid of this point first. Because it doesn't actually say anything that's different from what you have in your skills section. Okay, chessboard, team developers, free. Oh, okay. Oh, this is like a physical thing. Okay, this is a physical thing. Okay, I think that's cool then. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I feel like these two could be combined together. Like have an AWS point that combines all the services you put in. I think that's fine. It's a bit redundant to put two of them here, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I think it's still cool. Automatic vaccination checker. What is this? Autonomous access control system integrating vaccination status, self-assessment questionnaires, and body temperature to regulate entry into establishments. Okay. So this is an access control system. What does that mean exactly in this case? Into the front interfaces. It's a bit like this one. I think is actually kind of cool, but it's actually a bit vague what you actually built. So from what I'm reading is that you built something, okay, and it's able to read the vaccination status via QR code. Self-assessment question, like do they fill these out on your platform, or do they like submit them somehow, or do customers integrate their questionnaires into your thing? I think this needs a bit of clarification for the first point, but I think this could actually be a pretty cool project. So I would just clarify that up a little bit. Clarification here, reordering the points on the first experience. You can parse out this one. You can add in what's it called, Mockito over here. I think that'd be JUnit, Mockito, etc. That'd be okay to put in. Right, skill sections where you put the keyword padding. Right, like you don't need to pad the keywords elsewhere. The keywords go into skills. That's fine, and you technically don't need to have this, but that's fine too. Cool. So this one I'll mark none. All right. All right, what's going on here? LinkedIn. To the person who submitted their resume with their LinkedIn URL, please redact that. Please redact your LinkedIn, yeah. Okay, how about this one? This one is fine. Basically, if it can be used to identify who you are, that might get me in trouble. So that's kind of the threshold we're looking at. Whoa, what the hell is this? Okay, that's fine. Anything else? PNG submitted the Google form. Anything I need to do? No, if it's in the Google form, you just wait for your turn. We'll get to that. Okay, so what is the notes for this guy? The notes for this guy is overall review. So first review, smiley face. Okay. UBC, honors mathematics, business management, dual degree. Is this Bucks? No, this is not Bucks. Honors. I haven't heard of this one before. Mathematics and business management. Cool. I will put your graduation date here at the minimum, so people know what year you're in, or roughly know. Experiences, projects. Okay. Backend intern, built low cost, fault tolerant storage and query system for Postgres OpenAPI embeddings. Backend. I'm assuming this is where the company name is. That's fine. Low cost, fault tolerant storage. query system, PostgreSQL, and OpenAI bindings. So this one I think has pretty good content, but it's not enough information. So just this is not enough to justify low cost and fault tolerant, right? So for example, when we talk about low cost, you can talk about low cost compared to the previous solution, or if this is a new solution, you can talk about low cost compared to some alternative that was being evaluated, right? Because low cost is not lower cost. Low cost is an objective measurement. So you got to talk about what's low, what's low cost about it. Because I will tell you right now that OpenAI API is not low cost. Fault tolerant I think is okay, right? But I would say it's fault tolerant because you're using the some replication through Postgres. I think that would be good to put in. Otherwise, yeah, again, none of this inherently justifies low cost and fault tolerant. Okay. Develop Golang chatbot dashboard responsive queries. Plus customer engagement to company chatbots. Yeah, this is good. That makes sense. Engineer prompts to onboard B2B customers. Use Python to efficiently push information to a database. I feel like this Python part should be in the first point, right? This is your database point. Or if you're trying to talk about how you're using an efficient Python script to perform the prompt engineering task, then I wouldn't talk about this part at all, right? Just talk about what was efficient about your Python script to perform this task. But okay, sure. It's a bit low on content, to be honest. I think you can definitely expand the second point a bit, so you can talk about why so you can talk about how user engagement was low, so you fixed this. That makes sense. You can talk about a bit about the technology that you use, right? So right now we only know it's Golang. We don't know what else is behind the scenes, right? What dashboard technology is there? Is this for example, Prometheus, Grafana? I don't know what there is over here, so I think that dashboard could be clarified a little bit, right? It's a bit vague right now. I feel like there's some content here, but it's a bit too vague right now. All right, web director. This is current. This is almost current. This is current. Okay, that's fine. Cross organization to identify opportunities, develop sound business cases, drive continuous improvements, website, some users plus data. Okay, that makes sense. That's fine. Blog creation page. Blog page creation. Okay. Engaging from the new Indonesian students around blah blah. Okay. Sure, makes sense. I would quantify this, right? If you're willing to talk about SEO, it's a pretty cool topic. I would definitely quantify that, right? Especially because if you're the director, you should be able to know how effective your strategies are. So I think a bit of numbers here would help. That's fine. Communications officer. Is this like a club or something? I don't really know what these positions are, to be honest. Yeah, this is fine. This makes sense. I would say this is definitely less technical, right? And that's fine. But what that means is that if you're going for technical roles, which I believe you are, let me read your comment. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So if you're going for more technical roles, right, I would cut points from here first, right? Cut points from here first before cutting from the technical stuff. All right. Okay, projects. Let's take a look. Type racing game, data performance, TTD. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay. This is definitely okay. So here's the thing. This is definitely like a school-esque project, and that's no problem with that. It's just that you want to keep in mind that if you have other like external projects, or if you have projects that are more full stack-ish, those would be preferable to put first because that would catch attention a bit faster. Okay, what's this? Risk recommendation app. Oh, well, you're missing. I think you're missing a verb there. Well, that's fine. This is working. Oh, you present tense now? Is this? I think this is the wrong tense here, right? Yeah. Manage backend data tree. Okay. This is fine. Okay, sure. What's the front end here? Is this a mobile app with Firebase, or I'm not sure what the client here is. Right, it's unclear what the client here actually is, so I will clarify that. Load balancing server. Okay, self-assigned. Yeah, sure. Pretty cool. Pretty cool backend stuff. Trail and gear matcher mobile app. Okay. One third place Ucode development, accurate articulation RESTful API. This point's it stands out a little bit, doesn't it? I would elaborate a bit on that one. If data fetching query, high information, yeah, this is pretty. I think this is actually pretty cool. I know you have these in reverse chronological, same with your experience. I think that's fine. You could consider, putting the projects in decreasing chronological, and then separate, and then put this one. So put everything in decreasing chronological. So most recent on top. But because your communication officer roles might be less relevant, you can make a separate section for that. So, for example, you could talk about, I don't know what this is, right? You don't have to say, don't tell me, just consider it, just consider it. You can put this as a schools initiative or volunteer initiatives or something like that, right? So that way you can still put your intern role on top, and then I don't know what this is exactly, and then you can put this communications officer role in a separate section. Right, so that way you can have your intern role on top, which is the most technically relevant in this case, and that way you can put this app, which I think is this app and arguably this thing over here. The two things here are the most. I think this is cool too. So I think the projects would definitely benefit from being the other way around, and you can just separate this communication officer thing out to a separate category. So I think that's the easiest way to improve that. Okay, moving on. Okay, did the other person submit again? So I think it's this guy. Okay, so this guy. Okay, so I'll go for this guy again because he technically submitted it earlier, but I rejected it because it wasn't redacted. Okay. Yeah, so it's good now. This is fine. Okay, so let's take a look what's going on. Certs, clubs, skills, education is over here. This is, oh, you're graduating now. Congratulations. Hopefully, oh, this is a master's. Oh, cool, very cool, very cool. I understand if your bachelor's wasn't relevant, you wouldn't put it on. And I think it's pretty jam-packed right now, so this is fine. This is fine. What's your goal? Let's take a look at that. I didn't read that yet. So your goal is new grad here applying for, is this you? This is you. New grad here applying for data analyst, database admin, other tech analyst roles, redacted LinkedIn. Okay, cool. Okay. This is fine. This is currently pursuing cloud partition. Oh, this is cool. Okay, that's fine. These guys, fine. This is fine. Okay. So this is recent. This is more than a year ago. This is recent. This is a bit recent. Okay, cool. Okay. Engineering intern North Star Aerospace. Automated data extraction transformation Python, Pandas, SQL. SQL Academy and SQL. Python, SQL. Is SQL Academy a thing under Python or a thing under SQL? It could be a small formatting nit where you put Python and SQL and then bracket pandas this thing, right? For just readability sake. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, it makes sense. SQL ERP, Tableau, optimizing track inventory trends, optimizing resource allocation. I would quantify this if you can. I think this is a really cool point if you can quantify that. Otherwise, I think this is still fine. 100 plus system operating procedure compliant work, ensuring consistent operations. This is fine too. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. It's a bit light on the software things, but if you're going for data analyst, I think this makes sense. This is totally fine for the data side. Okay. Associate data analyst. ETL pipelines. Up to 10%. That's good. Makes sense. First point makes sense. Integrated fragmented data sets. Visibility and regional fragmented. This is a good word here. I like that word. That's a good word. Streamline financial, blah, blah, blah. Reducing. Okay, this is fine. Data retrieval speeds of 20%. Okay. Diagnose frequent. Logging. Sure. That's fine. Reducing errors by 40%. Additional team reliability. This is fine too. I will say that I think this is pretty good for data analysts, but I will say though is just my observation is that there's no theme here, right? The theme is basically you just wrote a bunch of queries and you did some ETL stuff. I think that's fine, right? But just keep in mind that you're really leaning heavily into like the I wrote SQL. because I know that's heavier for data analyst, but sometimes if you're trying to showcase, for example, more developmental skills, you can try to expand this point to two. Okay, you can see if that goes well for you. Otherwise, I think it's fine. I think this point here is actually really good as well. I would consider moving that one up to the second point to show that you have like a bit more, some deeper skills with SQL. Otherwise, it could be perceived that you're just all you're doing is just writing queries and you don't care about like this sort of is a bit of an afterthought. So I would say you can consider bumping that one up for priority's sake. But otherwise, I think the ordering is fine. I think it makes sense. It's quite logical. It's quite logical to me. Okay. What is this? Sales performance. This is a project. This is okay. Let's take a look. Sure. Uh, Intuitive's intuitive dashboard, interactive Tableau dashboard. Okay, I don't know. I think Tableau dashboards are interactive by default. Are they not? This might be a bit of a redundant. It might be a bit of a redundant adjective, but it's not a big deal. Okay, this is a pretty good one. I would, but a question for me because I don't really do data analysis, so I don't understand this, right? But like, where's this data coming from? Like, I'm assuming you get like some data online or something, or do you have your own like web store or like what's going on here? For someone like me, I don't really know where this data is from, which is fine, right? Because maybe in the industry they have like some like sample data you can use. But just be aware for me, that's my first question, right? Is like, where is this information coming from? Is it just a practice analysis skills, right? Then it makes sense. It doesn't matter where the data's from, but just be aware of that. Kaggle, I will put it on, right? Analyze sales data, analyze sample sales data from Kaggle, right? Because you have two lines here anyways, like you have room, so put it in. Customer retention analysis, scikit-learn, lowercase s. Yeah, this makes sense. I think this makes sense. I think right, retention, talking about churn, talking about retention. I think this makes sense. I think this is a good point here. Overall, I don't have too much to say about from a data analyst side. I would say personally, the main thing here is that you want to diversify the points here a little bit and talk a bit more about developmental skills. I think that's more valuable than just reiterating the fact that you have Tableau. Because here you have Tableau, Tableau again. Obviously I know Tableau is important for making those dashboards, right? But I think if you can talk about something that's more unique about it or something that's more about your developmental side, I think that's more so that's better use of the space. What software tool would be best to build your resume on? I would recommend LaTeX. I think LaTeX is the best tool for formatting, but I'm a bit of a hypocrite and I use Google Docs. But that's because I'm lazy, not because I think it's better. Be very clear about that. Okay, this guy looks fine. Yeah, if you guys don't know about the what's that guy called? What's the template cut, Jakes? If you don't know about this one, you should consider using this one. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but I've never seen someone use that template and come out worse off. All right, this person. Okay, what's their note? Their note is learn what I can focus on to land my first internship. I should probably start mandating more detailed descriptions because that doesn't really say anything. Okay. Oh, 2028. So you're like a first year. Concentration AI ML systems. What school has that? Interesting. Okay. I would use commas instead of vertical pipes. Commas are read more consistently. Okay, so project experience. Okay. Projects AI-powered focus on productivity application. Develop AI application Python level CV. Automated animation system, Pygame with obstacle avoidance, AI-driven what is this? Productivity application with obstacle avoidance. Design modular input tracking components with that thing to develop. Develop an automated animation system on Pygame with obstacle avoidance and AI-driven object interactions. So I think this is like a product question, which is that I don't understand why your productivity application has animations with obstacle avoidance. So I think the technology here makes sense, but the why is not clear here. So I would go back a little bit and just explain the second point. Hack the tunnel, Warner, redesign of the university website. Yeah, that makes sense. I think in these cases, by the way, the subheaders make sense. You could also consider integrating this information into the first point. Right, so for example, if you're talking about redesign university website, and your first point is immediately to enhance your university's website, right? This is a bit redundant. So I would say if you have the subheader, right, don't be redundant. If you don't want to have the subheader, then you can say here's a bit of space. So that's something for your consideration. Enhance this thing, improving. Yeah, I think this is okay. I would usually not be happy with using the word significantly, but because you won the award, I would be, this is fine. Responsive components, this is fine. Get out, this is fine. Okay, Wordle game. Smooth gameplay, color, code if you system and term color. Oh, this is a terminal, right? Command line. Okay, that makes sense. This is fine too. Yeah. Okay, youth coding structure. Fine. That's okay. Okay, that's fine. Program leader for what is this? Program leader for what? Not sure. Supervise program operations and ensure child safety programs. Oh, I see. This is okay. This one feels a bit less relevant. I think if you put this one, like parse it down to 2 points, maybe 1 point, that would be a bit better use of space. Generally speaking, I'd say, do you have a preference for jobs? To take a look. You didn't say, you did not say what kind. Web apps, right? So this one over here is a redesign. It makes sense, but it's not full stack. I think the main skill that we're like that I as a recruiter, if I were to look at this, right, the thing I don't see here is I don't see full stack proficiency, right? So we have I don't know what this thing is. This is to be honest, I'm still not very clear what this thing is. This is like not under consideration for me right now, right? This is front end skills. Okay, front end skills, that makes sense. This is not really back end, to be honest. This is mostly like a terminal thing, so that's not really back end either, right? So that's something which I think is missing, right? Back end / full stack. So I would say focus on a project that leverages that aspect, and I think it'll be in a stronger position. Okay. What is this guy? This guy has an interesting Discord username? Question mark. Is that actually the Discord username? Hold up. Oh, my streamer mode's on. I can't search. Oh, I can turn it off. What am I doing? Okay. Okay. Cool username. Okay. So, what's the thing here? My technical expert. Oh, wrong person. Sorry. This is the person. Get a better pay software dev job. Get a better pay software dev job. I like the bluntness of the English. Okay. I think LinkedIn. Hopefully your name is a bit bigger than that, but that's fine. Experience, skills, education. That's fine. Okay, this is a graduate. This is graduate already. So, oh, this is okay. So a couple years ago now. Oh no, this is 1 and a bit years ago. 2023. That's your new grad, right? Yeah, that's a new grad. Okay. All right. Specialized in Python. Conducted the institution of a revamped database maintenance and update system, which includes improved backup mechanisms for easiest restoration. Enhanced application Python 2 to 3. Oh, my condolences. Enhancing. Okay, it makes sense. Sure. Okay. Your location right now is Edmonton, right? Okay. So you've been here basically a year. I see some stuff going on. Um, Development. Okay, so the main thing here is that there's too much stuff going on, and it's unclear the depth at which you were involved at each of these projects. So, I would suggest subheadings, like at this level, right? Subheadings for each project. So, for example, you have a project here that is talking about Python 2 to 3 migration. Cool, that makes sense, right? So make a project called like Python migrations or whatever, and then go into more detail. Go into I will put maybe for in your case I will put at least 2 points into talking about migrating Python because I think there's a lot more to talk about here than you just than appears to the eye, right? I mean the first thing is that your processing speed increased by a lot. I'm not sure if that's due to Python 2 just being ass, but I feel like there's a bit you can talk about there, right? Or at least you can talk about how that was measured, right? So a bit of observability even. So I think that makes sense, right? That's the first thing I would do. The second thing is all the data related points. So first thing, right? Data related points is your database management system, right? That's a point, right? That goes along with you had here with right, visual representation of data. What else you had? I think it's just those two, right? So have a point here about revamping the database, talking about the data, what's going on there, visualization of the data, etc. I think that could be grouped together. That could be a bit more interesting. That will give a little more at least structure to the points here, because as of right now, it's like a lot of stuff, and it's not clear what's going on. It's not clear the involvement, the depth, and so it's hard for someone to judge. Okay, what was your focus here during this 1 year's time? I would also consider like you have a tech stack point here too. Um, I don't think it's necessary to put the tech stack here. The reason being, I mean Python like here you talked about, right? Like you could say specialized in Python. I would also put in the word specialized, but that's fine, right? I would put Flask here if you want to talk about Flask, right? You can talk about MySQL, do you talk about databases here, right? You can talk about revamping a MySQL database, right? I don't think you need an explicit point here to talk about that. So I think it's a bit of a waste of space. Okay, this is your co-op. You were here for 4 months. Remote Ontario. Okay. Full stack web development and implementing automated DevOps processes. It's a bit vague. It's a bit vague there. It's a bit vague, but it's fine. That's the overview, right? Okay. Okay. This is fine. This point is almost a better first point than the first point, right? It's a bit detailed here, which I think is fine, but it gives a lot more substance to what you were doing. At least the backend aspect, obviously. I know this is backend here. Okay. Conceptualized and integrated in Jenkins automation pipeline builds test comprehensive. Yeah, so you kind of talked about integration test over here, right? So if we're gonna have an integration test point anyways, I will get rid of this thing over here and just focus on this. That's fine. Jenkins and Docker in one point kind of makes sense if you're talking about deployment, so I can let that slide. Angular frontend UI update addressing issues, scalability. I think this part is not that relevant. Or this part. That's not really quantifiable, right? So I wouldn't really talk about that at all. Yeah, I think you cleaned this up a bit. I think you definitely cleaned it up. Okay. Using measuring functionality web platform. Okay. UI elements, sure. Yeah, I think for these kind of things, I think the tech stack that these terminologies you can just integrate into the points themselves. I don't think you specifically need to have a list of them here. That's fine. Did you also have? Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Sure, that makes sense. Okay. Now let me add. Okay, now let me answer the question more holistically, right? Get a better pay software dev job. Okay, sorry, the English there is just kind of funny to me. No. the main thing here is not really about the resume work, to be honest, right? Like resume work does matter, but like if you're in the industry already, that's not really the most important part anymore. And that's not really in the scope of resume review. But I'll just give you a high level, right? A high level, find opportunities to go up in your own company. And if you feel like I don't know what company you are, right? But if you feel like your company does not promote vertically very well, then you should be getting to the level. Like find, for example, just an example, right? The Amazon L5, like intermediate engineer bar, right? Compare yourself to that, get yourself up to that level, and then transfer externally, right? That's the main thing which I think needs to be considered here. Is that if you're going externally, and you have the experience shown on the resume that you are at the L5 level, at the intermediate level, that would be the fastest way out. Then again, I don't know what company you're at. Your company might be good at promoting vertically. Most companies aren't that good at that. So, you have to judge for yourself, right? And that's a conversation that you need to have with the manager, really. I can't answer that. That's a manager question, right? But like regardless of what your manager says, you still have to be honest with yourself, right? How do you compare to your own company's L5 bar, to your own company's intermediate engineer bar? How do you compare to like the industry standard engineer at the intermediate engineer bar? I think that's a better, like, I can't really judge you based on these things alone. There's not enough detail. There's not enough scope involved in here for me to really talk about. But resume wise, that's not going to be your bottleneck, really, right? It's going to be a lot more about getting your foot in the door for external transfers. Okay. This person. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this person's comment. My technical experience in different roles, looking for co-ops. Wait, what? Is that a question? What was my prompt? Explain what you're trying to accomplish with this resume. Looking for co-ops. Okay, I know. I'll just assume the second part is what you mean. Okay. That's good. Is this a link to a cert? I'm not sure what this is underlined, but that's okay. Okay, you have space to spare. $2026. So you're in at least second year, right? Second year. Okay. I personally would have expected more courses that are relevant by now, but okay. All right, let's take a look. Experience. Present. Accomplished resolution of. Okay, hold on a second. The bolding here is weird, right? This is why is by. Why is the word by bolded? This is not like don't bold these things, right? Like you use bolding to draw the attention onto things which you think is important. The word by is not important. Like for example, you might want to, bold 40%. That might be significant. You might want to bold 20 tickets. That's not that significant. But that's an example of what you would bold, right? Don't like bold random stuff like accomplished and by. I see 100 users here. That makes sense that you can bold that, right? That's some numbers. Okay. Fine point. Selenium makes sense. I would not put that down. Did you? Okay, this last point is a bit weird. Did you? I don't know what this is saying. This is saying that you did code reviews, and you use GitHub for version control. That has nothing to do with more reliable deployment pipelines, right? Like that's not correlated. So if you mean something here which is not written here, you definitely need to clarify that. Otherwise, I would get rid of this point. This point makes no sense. Now, if you made the continuation, if you actually developed the CI/CD pipeline, then that's worth putting down. But I don't think that's what happened here. Okay, project CS climate change hackathon. Okay, climate change website. Why is there a colon here? This sentence is just weird. If you want to do that, just get rid of this part. Say created an interactive platform to help individuals complete eco-friendly tasks within a specific time frame in this stack. I would put that down. This doesn't yeah, this is a weird sentence structure. Firebase, sure. Or you can just talk about this, right? And then in the second point, put in your technology. Like Firebase, CSS, etc. That's fine. Okay. Otherwise, I think that makes sense. It's just yeah, that's that's a bit weird right now. You have an extra space there. Uh this is a good point here, but this last point doesn't make sense. Like, what did you do to boost the cross-platform compatibility? Like, this is the out. Like here, you only have the outcome of the action, just that now it supports 5 devices. But what did you do to accomplish that? Right, that's the part of the resume which is missing here. Okay. Mountain Madness Hackathon. 100 dev. This is fine. Okay. Go to BC Machine Learning Volunteer. Wait, what? Oh, wait, okay, sorry. I think you're just missing a bit of a space at the bottom here, which is why the formatting is a bit squished, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so Machine Learning Volunteer help extract clean over 100 listings to help train an AILN model to decipher whether an Airbnb listing is a primary residency. Oh, that's a very interesting thing. I think this is very cool, actually. I think this is actually very cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, I would say the outcome. Like of 100 listings, how many did you find? Right? I think this is kind of cool. Okay. Anyway, skills. This is all fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the goal here, right, is looking for co-ops. Okay. I don't think this is like a bottleneck or a blocker, but one thing is that your backend for all these projects is Firebase, right? And look, Firebase is not an issue. Firebase is a really handy tool. That's why it's so popular. But using Firebase is not really a transferable skill, to be completely honest with you. Okay. I think if you're able to use some of the more advanced features like key rotations, what like database integration into like another cloud hosted database, I think that's worth talking about. But that's frankly not the case for basically all usage of Firebase. So what I mean by that is, even though you have a lot of full stack projects, the backend is in Firebase, and the front end is, for example, in this case, right? Let's take a look at this case. Your front end is not using a JS framework; it's just in HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It's full stack by definition, but it's not that useful to demonstrate full stack skills, right? So I would say for project wise, that like a real full stack project is kind of should be in the pipeline somewhere. And in your current role, I would definitely lean into a little bit more about how, about what kind of leading into the React aspect, right? Because in your other stuff here you have, I think Next.js is React. I'm not sure. I think Next.js is React, though. I'm not 100% sure. But I would lean into like professional React experience here a little bit. And if you have the opportunity to work in the back end here, I would try to get your foot in the door in that sense as well. Otherwise, it's a bit bare on the skills. Good question in the chat. I was curious what lens you're reviewing these resumes on. It appears to be from the perspective of if someone was to grill you on your resume points, but if we're filmed to get through the resume screens, would the same advice still apply? Yeah, so that's, first of all, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. These will still apply to get through resume screens. And the reason is actually it's a bit 50-50 in that sense, where there's 2 resume screens, right? There's a first screen, which is the ATS, right? The ATS screen, I'm not specifically judging. I am commenting on when things are not great. Like, for example, this person here is using like vertical bars, like pipes to separate skills. That's not good. Use commas, right? Commas are more easily read by ATS. So that's the first screen, the ATS screen. I'm also commenting on that, right? ATS screens. The next screen I'm talking about is when after you pass a screen and a person is reading the ATS's recommendation for team matching or organization matching, or the recommendation to where we should interview this person for, right? That's the next screen. That screen is also relevant in the sense that like when they're looking through your resume to figure out what's going on here, that's going to be relevant because they need to figure out like, yeah, the keywords match, but what does it really mean? Like what like how do we piece this together, right? So that's in which ATS is not as strong at, is actually understanding like given these like how do these keywords actually fit into the sentence. So I think that's a pretty important part, which this feedback is going to be useful for people. But also keep in mind, right? Some people they're asking for feedback about the resume, and some people are asking for feedback about themselves given their resume, right? So and keep in mind, like that's actually distinct, right? Like it's distinct because if you're asking for feedback just strictly about your resume, I'll give you the feedback about how your resume will be perceived as is. But if you're saying something like, for example, if you're saying I'm looking for co-ops, then yeah, I'm gonna review your resume, right? Okay, whatever, great. And then I'm gonna say, given your resume, I'm gonna deduce this about you as a person or you as a student, whatever it is, right? And I'm gonna say this is what you should do next to maximize your chance of accomplishing the goal, which in this case is getting a co-op. Um, so that's the answer to your question about resume screens. Now, at the same time, keep in mind that a lot of these people actually make it past resume screens, and they're actually in the behavioral interview or they're in some behavioral-esque interview where now the interviewer is looking at the resume or and some other supporting notes and asking them about the resume, right? So yes, this is relevant for ATS. This is relevant for when the recruiter or hiring manager is looking at the actual resume and seeing like what should we proceed this person with, and it's also relevant in the behavioral round interviews. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, next person is yep, that's fine. Yeah, we'll tell them down. Let's go. Here it is. Okay. All right. This person is what's their notes? Their notes is data engineer full-time role USA. Okay. Sure. Oh, area code 623. I actually don't know where that is. Oh, it's in Arizona, I guess. Cool. Small summary. You're a bit tight on room, so maybe that's okay. But I would say, generally speaking, summaries don't really matter. Okay, so master's in computer science, bachelor's in technology and computer science engineering. This is I had a 10 GPA. Oh, interesting. Okay, but this is fine. Okay, yeah, this is compact and this is good. This is good. Okay. Experience. So this is. I'm just having a look here. So we have. Oh, you're currently at masters. Okay, you're currently at masters. TA. Oh, TCS. Okay, TCS. Oh, all TCS. So since 2021 4 to 2023 8. So that's more than 2 years of TCS. Okay. In fact, I don't know what this is, but this is a intern. Oh, intern role. Okay, so intern role for 6 months. Oh, that's an interesting date. That must be like a different thing. Okay. And then projects 2021, 2024. Date's a bit interesting. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, so let's look at this then. Okay, so your goal is right full time data engineer role. Is this like are you graduating? You're graduating soonish. You're graduating soonish. Okay. Yeah, that's about all you can write for TAs. That's fine. Deployed end-to-end ETL pipeline, automated, blah blah blah. It's an automated manual task. It's a bit vague what the manual task was, but this is still a good point regardless. So that's fine. Led team of 4 data engineers managing product delivery. Oh, this is an interesting point. So you led a team of 4, but you were a data engineer yourself. So this might be something which people know I don't really understand. But that's fine, I guess. It's just a bit weird to me that you will be leading as a data engineer, other data engineers. Okay, just data from 4 sources: MySQL, S3, LDA, improving data reliability from 4 sources. Yeah, that makes sense. I can believe that. That makes sense. PySpark, Python scripts, 400 Databricks jobs, change data capture. To handle data flow and data change data capture. Okay. This one's not really motivated though. Like this one, I think is lacking a bit of motivation for why this was done in the first place. I think this is stated very matter of factly, which is fine, right? But it's very matter of factly, and I don't understand why this was done. So especially if you're leading into the role of a leader a bit, right? If you're leading into the leader role with like a point like the second point, I think your points need to be more holistic and explain why certain work was done. Okay, engineer sequelize. This is fine. This is good. Cross functional. So this thing, I think the points two and this one can work together. So that could be you can put those side by side, or even combine them honestly. Okay, TCS research intern link. Oh, there's a link here. What is this link for? Develop talent, experience gap analyzer, and productivity. Yeah, I'm not sure what this link is for, but I think this point is pretty interesting. And yeah, so I understand. I understand it's short for room, so I think putting 1 point here is okay. But I'll read the rest of the resume and see if we should put 2 points here. Infosys Corp. Okay, customer facing bank chatbot, Python dialog flow. Okay, sure. Data system Python. Wait, what? Oh, is this like a contracting corporation? The bank chatbot and the playlist recommendation system seem completely unrelated. Um, but yeah, this is fine too. This is fine too. I would go into if you're going to data analysis, right? I would talk more about what aspects of listening patterns were being observed. I think that would be more cool to talk about. Okay, this is a lot of stuff though, so let's just speed through the rest of the projects. By the way, the ordering here is a bit weird. I don't really know why the order is this way, the date orders. Because to me, it sounds like the second project is about as good as the first one, if not better. So it's unclear to me why you put this one first. Um, Machine learning model. This makes sense. SQS for autoscaling doesn't really make sense. I think you mean SQLs and everything for autoscaling. I think SQS is a bit unjustified here. I'm not really sure why that's being used. If you're just trying to name dump SQS, I don't think that's that relevant. You can just write in general SQS services. That's fine. This is a bit like cloudy, which is good. But if you're going for data science, I don't think that this point matters at all, to be honest. Image search engine, K-means, DBScan. No, that makes sense. Generative AI for ads. Stability feature. Okay. I think you can definitely quantify that. If you want to quantify that, that could be good. Quickly look at the technical skills. Python, that's good. MySQL, NoSQL, Neo4j. Don't need to write graph databases. Everyone knows that. Data factory. This is good. This is good. Spark, Scala, Docker, all these things. DBT, don't know what that is. That's pretty cool though. Scikit-learn, these two are lowercase. I would say okay. First thing is I would definitely clean up the first point a little bit to clarify what exactly you were doing leading engineers. That part's a bit unclear. Second thing is organization of the organization of the points could be better tied together. And this part over here is a bit weird in the sense that yeah, I understand the outcome, but I don't understand why this was done in the first place. Oh yeah, and this thing. So this is actually a pretty cool piece of output, like an analyzer in a model. I think you could definitely. I think in terms of priority, I would put another point here and explain how this was done, what aspects were considered, and I would take away some points from your projects. I think this can be more relevant, but only you know actually what happened there. So that's up to you to decide. All right. I'm gonna close off submissions after 3 p.m. so that we can actually reasonably get through things. You know what? No, that's not fair. I'll say from now on it's closing, so no more from now. Because I guess I technically didn't say from 3 p.m. All right, we have how many? We have quite a few more. I gotta speed through this. Okay, so what are you? You are this. Are you? Wait, did I look at this already? Yes, this one looked at. Right, this one you redacted. Right, so this one is done. This one. Yeah, that's fine. What are your opinion on certs like AWS and Resume? If you AWS certs are not relevant for software engineers, but they might be relevant if you're going to solution architect or if you're going for like software adjacent, like software dev adjacent roles. That could be good. I would say the time it takes for you to do a software cert, it's better off doing a full stack web dev project. I was wondering if we should put the cover letter, list of references, work samples, and the resume PDF when we apply. Would that be considered good practice? I think that depends on the company. Some companies will have separate upload boxes for cover letters and such. I wouldn't also volunteer references until they ask. That's sort of the industry standard. When would you say micro optimizations even make sense? I feel like after a point, they don't really benefit you as much. What do you mean? Do you mean like on a resume? Like, yeah, on a resume, they don't really benefit you at all, to be honest. If you're talking about in projects, they can really make sense if it has a large outcome. Or even the process of identifying a optimization is valuable. Yeah, on a resume, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you optimize it, right? If you have, if you don't have trouble getting past screens, then yeah, it doesn't matter at all. If you do have problems getting past screens, like, why wouldn't you optimize it? All right, this guy, what's his notes? His notes is graduating soon, trying to find DevOps security. Wait, where'd it go? It was over here. Wait, where'd it go? Wait, where the hell am I? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is what I said. Okay. Right. Okay, huge name. That's fine. Bachelor's Computer Science, Math, Management. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Oh, that's a lot of courses. How's your room looking? You're a bit tight on room. Okay. So let me just tell you, if you're tight on room, I'll tell you the courses that I would get rid of if I were you. Okay. The operating system. That's completely irrelevant. Databases. Do you have database technology here? You have lowercase s. You have Cassandra. Is that your only database? Kubernetes. Yeah, this is sort of a database. Okay. Regardless, get rid of that. Computer organization. What does that mean? Algorithm design, data structures, analysis, computation. So those are the ones I would get rid of to save room. Those ones basically mean absolutely nothing. The other ones have arguably some keyword value, so you can keep those on. These ones have no value, so just get rid of those. Okay. Let's say like otherwise Confluence. Okay, productivity tools bottom. Okay, languages first, frameworks, developer tools, then productivity. Yeah. Although I guess if you're applying, okay, well, first of all, if you're going for business jobs, right, get a separate resume. That's the first thing. For business jobs, I can imagine you want the Microsoft first. For software, like that's like bottom. In fact, you can even argue get rid of this in general. This doesn't really say anything. Okay, experience. This is even the date. Okay, the date is a bit unnecessary, but that's not an issue. Just a bit unnecessary. This is 2024. You're 2025, so you're graduating soon. This is your last term, right? Okay. DevOps. Okay. Sure. Carpenter is fine. Perform centralized patching on multiple Kubernetes clusters. Do you mean like you manually patch them? If you manually patch them, this is an okay point. But be prepared that the first question to ask is why are you patching these things manually? Is this on Azure? Where is this? Terraform module to automate. Okay. Some questions related to the second point here, but I think you can clarify that yourself. Cluster maintenance support, EKS, wait, that's the same thing as this one, no? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, that's fine. Very EKS heavy. This is for a term. Okay, sure, that's fine. IT intern, associates, how analysis are database per day. Makes sense. Design approval process various departments to SharePoint power to me. Okay. That's fine too. That's fine too. Okay. I will say also if you're using the periods for the date shortcut, you should put them everywhere. Otherwise, it's a bit inconsistent. This is an example of micro optimization. Does it matter? No. Does it bother me? Yes. Will I fail you for this? No, obviously not. But, attention to detail, right, guys? Okay, projects. This is recent. These are all recent. Okay, that's good. Car content amplification, scalable, Docker Swarm containers. High available solution with fault tolerance to support students. Yeah, this is good. Good wording. Good wording. Good wording. Squad up. Oh, this is a club. Okay, that makes sense. Beautiful suite for script gather events filtered at Happy University. That makes sense. That makes sense. Believe that. Distribute shortener system. This is a score project, isn't it? Yeah, I think you had a distributed systems thing here. Okay, let's take a look at it though. Fault tolerant shortener, Java's multi-threading networking libraries for efficient request. Okay. Built monitoring, testing, orchestration tools about performance, simulate failures, assures seamless. Okay, this is actually quite good. However, it is currently unclear why Bash scripting is here. So maybe you can clarify that. But otherwise, I think it's fine. System call interception in Linux kernel. Blah, 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 blah. That's fine. This is fine too. I would say personally, right, like, again, if you're optimizing for space and you're going for it, right, you're going for, what are you going for? Wait, who are you? You are this person. You're going for DevOps security, right? C is going to be good for the security aspect, but not very good towards the DevOps side. So you could even, I don't know how many points you have omitted, but you could even make a separate resumes for security versus DevOps. Just some food for thought, right? Because something like this is going to be quite good for security. Like learn about the Linux kernel, system calls, stuff like that. For DevOps, that's going to be less relevant. You really won't be working in C and DevOps. Okay, cool. I looked at that guy, right? Did I look at this guy? Yes. How about you? Wait, who is this guy? This guy looks familiar. Yes, I did that one already. So now it's this guy's turn. Okay. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so the screenshot's a bit wonky to be honest. That's fine. Let's move on. Header's fine. Okay. University. So this is Bachelor Computing, Honors Co-op, Major Computer Science, Minor in Product Management. This sits on one line, so let it slide. Okay, experience. This is recent. This is recent. That's a bit far. That's a bit far. Personal projects. Okay, and then skills. Okay. What's going on here exactly? So, what's your notes? Your notes are apply for new grad, bullet points. Are the bullet points good enough or need any changes? I have more projects. Should I make my resume 2 pages? Okay. New grad. All right, new grad, guys. Okay, let's take a look. A business analyst intern. Business analyst intern. Wait, are you doing software? What are we doing here? Apply for new grad. I'm assuming you mean new grad software engineering. You didn't actually specify if this is new grad software engineering or not, but I'm assuming it is. Business analyst intern. Led the integration of a new insurance LOB into the CRM by connecting. Those are acronyms I don't really know. Scalable Python. Okay, look, if you're going for software, this should not be your first point. This has no software in it. Python RG at Opalama. This is pretty good. This is an okay point. Engineered a Python GUI. Look, guys, let's stop using verbs like engineered on a GUI. Okay, let's stop doing that. But it's fine. But like, honestly, I think there's better words than that. Python GUI for automated data transformation, enhancing data manipulation and analysis. Do you mean like enhancing user experience during data manipulation and analysis? I don't see how having a GUI enhances data analysis. So this is a bit questionable to me. Oh, and also efficiency. Oh, sorry, this gap was so big I thought that was the end of the point. Oh, enhancing data efficiency. Okay, this also doesn't make sense. How does having a GUI enhance data analysis efficiency by 60%? Oh, this is manual data analysis? Is that what you're saying? Generating data detailed reports on 50+ hazard data points. Okay, hold on. I can read this point. engineer a Python GUI for automated data transformation, right? So this is a point by itself. Okay, great. And you're saying automated data transformation enhances data manipulation and analysis efficiency by 60%. Okay, that's believable. That's believable. Okay, and this point over here seems to be unrelated, frankly, just straight up unrelated. So I would probably take this part out, put it somewhere else. Present a 5+ business proposal of POCs on innovative IT solutions to senior management, including a Gen AI chatbot, aligning with the strategic plan to enhance organization goals and SaaS. Okay, so this part just doesn't mean anything, so get rid of that. Boosted educational service engagement by 20% through leveraging data-driven analysis, diverse data sets, and optimizing risk management decision-making process through insightful Power BI visualization dashboards. Okay. Boosted educational service engagement 20% through leveraging data-driven analysis of diverse data sets. So again, right, this is a watery point. Like this point doesn't actually say anything. To make the point substantial, you would need to say leveraging data-driven analysis of diverse data set, with some finding, right? This is saying you made a data set and then somehow that boosted your engagement, right? Making data sets doesn't boost engagement. Making data sets, observing a pattern and then making an action can increase engagement, right? So you're missing the key middle part there, which is what action did you take? All right, Celestial 3D lithoplane researcher, physics. This is pretty cool. Yeah, this is 4 lines. The 4 lines I can let it slide. Big data engineer intern, implemented ETL jobs in Azure Databricks, Azure Data Factory, blah blah. This is good. PySpark, Databricks. Wait, what? Automate data off 20% resulting. Is this PySpark part of the streamlined process? If so, I would combine these 2 points. But I would take this part out and put it into the second point. It's a bit unclear if this is a separate thing right now. But it's fine. It's a good point though. And efficiently manage, resolve tight deadlines, assurance. Efficiently manage and resolve HiveQL Spark ETL job failures. I don't know if this is significant, to be honest. Like, you fixed 100+ job failures. I would again, right? I would say if this is that significant of a point to you, you need to put in the action. Like how? Like you resolved it how? Like how did you resolve them? What was the action you took to resolve them? This is fine. What is the goal here again? New grads. Are bullet points good? Need change. Should I put more projects on my resume? Okay. Leverage C place and refactor S. Okay, that makes sense. Enhance. Yeah, this is good. AngularJS. Modernize AngularJS. That's a bit of an oxymoron. This is good. This can go. This point can go. This is good. Yeah, I think the rest of the points are good. The last point doesn't make anything. I would say, okay. Before I do that, let me just read the projects. Blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, frankly, at this point, no one's been reading this anymore. I'll be honest with you. Keywords, keyword check. Yeah, fine. All fine. Okay. Points-wise, there's a theme right now where a lot of your points have outlined the problem or outlined the good outcome, which is fine. And but it doesn't outline the intermediate steps, which is the action taken, right? So I think it's good. The problem has identified, that's good. It's been solved at the end, which is good, but it's missing the middle part. So I pointed out 2 examples of that, right? I pointed out 2 examples in resume. There's a couple more. That's something which you can definitely improve on, so it doesn't leave the reader hanging, basically. Because more percent of readers will read that and say, "Oh, that's not, it's a very happy story, but it doesn't actually tell me the journey." Projects, you don't need more projects here, right? You don't need more projects, especially if you're just going for regular new grad software. I think you could better use the room as is to give more priority, right? Like, for example, the first point, the first job, business analyst intern, the very first point of your resume, which people will read, is just full of like non-software related things. And that's usually not a problem if you're going for like more holistic roles. But if you want to give the impression that you're going for like just regular software engineering, that's going to be a bit of a like it's going to set the wrong tone. So there's definitely a couple things here you can improve. That's for sure. I think the content is actually good though, right? The content is good. It's not represented very clearly. All right, who is this person? Wait, I should unpin the thing so people don't submit anymore. Let's do that. Okay, this person is fine. Who the hell's pinging me? Okay. So what's this person's notes? This person's notes: try to be more competitive for SWE, ML backend cloud position. Trying to see resume has anything doesn't make sense too technical. General advice, general SCD. Okay. Okay. How much space do we have? We have some space. We have some space. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start speedrunning these. Blah blah blah. Cool. This can go. This is fine. This is a lab. Present. Okay, lab. Okay. Game dev. Sure. Okay. I'll use a better word for that one. We got little downtime. There's downtime? Little downtime is bad. That's downtime. Downtime is bad. But okay. There's probably something I don't understand there. That's fine. Sparse matrix multiplication for language models. Is this really faster than the current implementation? Finance better prediction. Cool. .NET Map portfolio. Okay, what are these going on? Okay. All right, so your resume is competitive. Doesn't make sense. It's too technical. It's definitely not too technical. I'll tell you that much right off the bat. Looking for general advice. Okay. The main thing here, I think, is this is really leaning into, like, this is super heavily leaning into the ML stuff, right? So I think that, I mean, and that's fine, right? There's a lot of ML stuff here. But, one thing which, if you're going for general SWE, well, I guess you didn't say full stack, but backend, okay, if you didn't say full stack, that's fine. Backend wise, okay, let me look at the backend. Backend wise, this is your backend experience, right? Your game dev is essentially backend. This part I think is pretty cool. It's leading into a lot of like the social aspect. I think that makes sense. This last point you gotta clarify somehow. Like just that little downtime is not justifiable, right? This is your other backend experience, right? This point I think makes sense, but again, there's a lot of ML stuff in here. I think generally speaking, there's some backend things which are missing. The main thing is just like an integration, right? Like a full stack integration. No, not full stack, but like full backend integration. So things like, for example, database deployment, observability. Observability, I think, is one you didn't mention at all, from what I can tell. It's not in here, at least. Observability, right? Databases you do have. I saw database here. You have database here, but it's unclear the scope of that. And you do have general software. I see over here, like you have some C++, Python, Rest. That's okay. That makes sense. But again, right, this is very, very heavily leaning into the ML aspect. So if, for example, you have like you're omitting points that are not ML related, that are more general software related, and you're still trying to go for ML roles, again, this is a good candidate to make two resumes, right? Make a resume for ML and make a resume for general software. I think the points that you have on the page are good. It's just that, this is going to look like a really ML heavy resume to a hiring manager who's looking to hire for general software backend. Okay. Oh, 2-page resume coming up. What is this? Why can I not scroll? Oh, I can scroll now. Okay. I will still review this because that's probably educational. All right. Oh, this is not resolution. Where's my? Okay. Don't need. Wait, what country are you from? Why do you have a photo there? Okay, so I don't know what country you're from. Actually, I do because it's your name. But, in the West, you should definitely not put a photo on the resume. Depends on the company, but some companies will auto reject photos because they don't want to be open up for discrimination. So just be aware of that. You should, generally speaking, in the West, never have your photo on the resume. Okay. Let's get out of the way. What do you have for your university? That's a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. Web developer. Intern this year. TTA. Intern. Education. Projects. A lot of projects. Okay. Wait, what's your university? Graduate. Okay, so first things first, one page. I'll tell you, look, because we're overtime, right? So I'll just tell you at a high level what's going on here, okay? Because I know your notes saying new grad software engineering roles, right? There's some stuff here which does not need to be here at all, and I'm assuming you're in the West. GP at 100 actually. What country is that? It's out of 100. Okay, okay. So my assumption for reviewing this one is that you're gonna be in the West. All right. So first things first is that all of this has got to go. None of this is relevant. These ones I would say some of them can be relevant. So okay, first so that can go. If you have, for example, relevant design team experience, put that in projects. Like put that as a project. Otherwise, that doesn't. If you don't talk about the level of involvement you're in, that's not that relevant. Oh, work learn. Oh, okay, that's definitely the West then, I think. That can go. This wise, I think you can put in the context of listing out some awards you got, but most of these are not going to be relevant because they don't most of these are not relevant because they don't have people don't know about them. So if people don't know, like if you don't think the hiring manager will know about these, and I can guarantee you your hiring manager will not search these up, okay? Then don't put them in. If, for example, Trek Excellence, I know at my school, Trek Excellence is top, I think 5% GPA. You can note that down. That makes sense. That's some level of, that's quite exclusive in that sense. Otherwise, the other ones aren't really gonna make sense. So I would omit those. Okay, projects. Android. Language Learner, OAuth 2, Google Calendar API. Okay. Okay, this thing can go. This thing, for example, you don't need a whole point for Google Calendar. You don't need a whole point for OAuth 2 and video calling, right? These can be combined into like a point which outlines some features which might have. And ideally, that should be in the first point, outlining the features of the product you built. This point, like for example, this can go into winner of this, right? Like that can go there. So you don't need to have that many points for these kind of things. These things, like for example, if you point like this entire second half means nothing, right? Node.js to manage server operations. Yeah, obviously, you can't use Node.js for front end, right? This is a backend application, so of course it's so this is not useful. If you have login that has to manage user sessions, stable and responsive is subjective, and you didn't quantify that. So like that's an example of how you can parse this down to definitely fit into one page. All right, that doesn't matter though. Let me look at the actual content for the experience. That's fine. Okay. Experience. So this is this is present. So you have doing web dev. Revamp how, right? Revamp how. Accessibility, Angular JS rewrite, right? Like this. There's no information here. Diagnose. I would say this point can go. 6,000 weekly users can go into their first point, right? Let's revamp of 10 plus websites encompassing 6,000 weekly users, right? Like resolving bugs, developing new pages, implement features is what revamping is. So this point doesn't say anything. This point can't make sense, right? I think this point can't make sense, but this point should be 1 point. Like this point should say increase SEO scores from 25% to 95% through doing XYZ. Like we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need research visibility. That stuff doesn't matter. Like if you're not going for SEO roles, which you're not, right? Talk about what the outcome is, which in this case is increasing SEO scores from 25 to 95, and then say by doing XYZ. That's it. Okay, this fine consolidated template search. What does this mean? These 2 points should be combined. We don't need to write tests. Validation process, front to front. This is this. Okay, so if you're gonna talk about this, then you can combine these 2 points together as well, right? Test to test plus deployment. Test, end-to-end test, deployment, release candidates. Like this is the same point, so you can combine those. TA, you do not need 3 points for TAs. Unless you were like some like lead TA, grad TA, like you're making course content, like for the actual course, not for the TA sessions, you can talk about that. If you're just if you just did weekly sessions, you did some support, you graded assignments, like why is grading assignments the whole point, right? Grading assignments does not deserve a point when you're going for full stack, new grad engineering roles, right? So just think about that, because when you have a 2-page resume, the recruiter will see that you graded assignments before they see that you had an ML project over here, right? So like keep the priorities straight. That's a high level stuff. Lot of access points here. A lot of access words that you should get rid of for sure. Okay. Oh my god, I'm not making good progress. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 more for me to get through. And then we'll call it. Let's see. This guy okay. This guy's okay. All right. Let's go ahead and chat. Anything new? I'm not so sure what experience to try to gain next. Continue leveling my experience. Should I build a project in something my current work experience hasn't covered? That's generally a good idea. If you're going for full stack roles, which most roles are these days, honestly, and you don't have a very clear full stack project on, that's going to be considered a bit of an omission. At least for me. Some people might not consider that an omission. I would consider that an omission. Okay, this person's comment is, I plan to switch companies at 1.5 years. Okay. 2023 projects Payet Crab. Payet, I don't know what that means. D3 graphs. I like D3 graphs. That's cool. Sure. Fine. What's this? Okay. This is intern, right? This is full time. Okay. Okay. So what kind of roles? Didn't say. I'm assuming full stack then. Security clearance. That's good to put in. What is this? Oh, aerospace. Okay. For an external license design. What? External license fees for designing and developing internal and remote tool. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, wording's fine. Digital battery handling maps for terminals 4 and 6. Provided core software code customization servicing. Provided core. The word provided is a bit weird here. Like, you mean you developed software? Like I'm not sure what the word provided here means. So that's a bit ambiguous. But the point is pretty good. It makes sense. Develop new handling, new handling and integration test very simple. Okay. Overhauled features. Demonstrate technical had exceeding typical development. Okay. That part you don't need to say. I think if you're presenting your stuff to C-suite executives, that already is pretty good. Okay, this makes sense. I would say it's a bit. There's not actually very much content about the code that was developed. Like I know from this reading list, I know that you developed code for baggage handling systems, the part of contracts, but but here's the thing, right? Keep in mind from the third party perspective. Just because your code is part of a bigger contract doesn't make your code inherently better, right? So you still need the code still needs to stand on its own 2 feet to describe why things are good. For example, here you talked about you had these features which are cool, makes sense. You had integration testing, you had microservice architecture, right? So it still makes sense, but just keep in mind that like don't lean too heavily into things that aren't actually in your control. And as far as I'm concerned, the $25 million contract is not in your control. Okay, Agile developer, SAP HANA. Also, the technology here I only see is just C sharp, right? It's just C sharp. That's also C. WinForms, I'm assuming ASP.NET is C sharp, right? So this is just a purely C sharp tech stack. So keep that in mind, right? This is C sharp, and it's only backend. Um, okay. What is this? This is a while ago now. Okay. HANA Analytics, update, maintain, blah blah. Doesn't matter. Blah, okay. Yeah, this is a pretty standard SAP experience. I've heard of this one before. That's interesting. Okay, internet database, verified person, display use badges, mobile app. Uh, okay, yeah, that's clear. Update and maintain, sure. This is a good point. The last one's a good point. I like that. Allocation, ledger docs. Okay, OCR, Tesseract. Okay, that's a bit. The second one's a bit wordy. I would consider splitting that up, but it's fine. Prototype SQL, that's fine. Okay. This stuff's fine. Okay. Right. Your goal is what? What's over here? Switch companies, 1.5 years of experience. Right now you're in Richmond. Okay, cool. I would say on the right track. Depending on what your next role what you want your next role to be, you might want to target some more. You try to advocate to get some more like relevant projects at work. Now, I obviously understand you might not have the opportunity to make front end stuff as much, right? Because I understand this is like more like this is like logistics company, right? But right now, if you're going for full stack roles, this is your right. I'm assuming, yeah, this I believe is your most recent experience with front end JavaScript. Right. This I don't think that like this I don't think this is microservices, right? This is not front end. Right? So this is your most recent front end experience from my reading. Do you have a more recent project? Oh, you have D3. Okay, you have D3. So this is well, D3 is like not really front end though, right? D3 is like a very specific framework for making graphs. So right, keep that in mind, right? If you're going to go in like another year and a half to go for full stack, your most recent front end experience will be more than 4 years old. So that's something to keep in mind, right? Get some relevant projects at work to do front end stuff, or do your own front end project separately. So you can kind of show what's going on there. Because yeah, I think that after a while that will be a bit of a question that comes up, and that might prevent from passing some screens. So that's a risk. Okay, just calling it out. All right. What's this guy say? This guy says, you already reviewed my resume before a few months ago. Thank you. I was wondering if you can help provide me with tips on how to optimize resume to clear resume screens. I'm really hoping to get my resume. Wait, what? This just cuts off. Oh, no, it's over here. Really hoping to get resume in shape for January when summer 2025 recruiting starts. So far, I've had no luck with getting any placements while cold applying outside of Ottawa companies. Do I need unique projects or anything specific action I can take to improve my chances? Okay. Let's see. Wait, where the hell did I download? I didn't download it. Yeah, it looks fine. All right, so yeah, most of it's yeah, that's kind of a telltale sign that if you're only getting local, like smaller local companies, and you're not getting international ones or larger companies that are available in the country, it's a sign that your resume is on the right track, but it doesn't have the right skills on it, or at least it doesn't demonstrate the right skills. So let's have a look. So you're currently 2026, computer science, bachelor's, administration, can access. Yeah, that's a fine way to put it. Yeah. this was okay. This one makes sense. Nit here is I would say like what about is this reducing median network packet size, reducing number of network requests, right? I think there's a quantity missing here, or quantification missing there rather. Okay, sure. Improve usability over previous Redux based implementation. Like this is not really justified, right? But I think that's fine to put in. Web scraping. Okay. Okay, sure. Design React front end. Okay. Now what is this? Forgot password, TypeScript, PostgreSQL, OTP, support tickets. That's good. Tool Java. What is this? Design email templates, React email. Oh, this is React email stuff. Okay. Some more React components, projects. What is this? Frontend and JS React Next. Responsive and this is kind of the same point to be honest. Engine node, server MongoDB for backend content. Okay. This is a backend point, right? This is a backend point. Do you have other backend points? Not really, I don't think, right? Block tabs is front end. This could be backend. I'm not. This is full stack. I don't know what the backend stack here is. Like this is very vague. Obviously, that's fine. You can learn more later. Flask is not really backend to be honest. Ethical is good. The main thing lacking here is I think backend. This is a very front end heavy resume, right? Like this is very front end heavy. And so I think if you don't have a clear way to demonstrate backend proficiency, that's going to be a bottleneck for you. So I would consider that to be the main thing to work on. Get a more backend heavy project and or rephrase the points to kind of like highlight the backend work you've done. Because right now there's a lot of stuff with React proficiency, not a doubt, that's fine. Like Tailwind as well. I see Tailwind, right? Tailwind here, Aria stuff here. So you're definitely proficient in the front end aspect, but the backend thing here, the backend I think is in general lacking. Would I recommend you swap out something for something more back-endish? Depends on the project. I mean, I obviously can't say right without knowing what it is, but I would say yeah. I think backend. If you have a backend focused project, that could be good to highlight. Right, if this is mostly highlighting front end stuff, this is already all front end basically. Right, so I think if you can put in a backend, well, I guess this is technically a bit of backend, but like if you put in a backend project, I think that would balance it out a little bit better. Okay, what is this? This is the last one for today? Let me check. This is the last one for today. So this is the last one for today. There's one more here. Where is this? This guy okay? This guy? Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. Wait, is it fine? Let me just check. What is this guy saying? Okay, that's fine. Okay. The note here is have an upcoming team match interview at Google Cloud. We'd like to know what they asked the grill about. Team match at Google, what they ask a grill about? That depends. That depends a lot on what you're working with. This is not a resume question. this is not a resume question, my guy. This is a question that. Wait, hold on. Is this the right person? Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this is the right person. Yeah, this is not a. Yeah. I don't think this is the right. I mean, like, I'll answer your question this time because I mean I know, but like you're better off asking the general chat, like in lounge or in early career, these kind of questions because there's more people than just me giving out experience, like giving out your answers, right? Okay, so. Generally speaking, team match wise, I think there's two main things about team match and Google. The first thing is like hopefully you know the format, right? If you don't know the format, you can go find those things. Those things are online everywhere, mostly on LeetCode. They're on Reddit. I don't like Reddit, but they are unfortunately available there, so you can definitely go there. generally speaking, it's the team match is a two-way interview. I mean, all interviews are two-way interviews, but the team match interview is even more explicitly a two-way interview, where you also need to figure out if you like that team that they're gonna be, that they propose that you match on. Because before the team match interview, you should have already submitted like a statement or like some like notes about like the kind of stuff you want to work on, and that they will internally try to best match you with the teams, right? So generally speaking, what that means is that when you're in a team match interview, there's already some aspect about the project they're thinking of giving you, and some overlap with the interests that you have that you have outlined. So the main thing is identifying what those things are, and figuring out if that project at a high level is something that you would be interested in, right? So questions that you would be asking that you would be figuring out if you fit in is like, what does the team do? Like high level stuff the team does, right? And I mean, hopefully they can introduce themselves and you can understand that ahead of time. But the main thing is like, what does the team do, and how that project would fit into the team, the team's mission. Um, Biggest thing they'll oftentimes ask as well is tech stack match, right? So that's something which they can usually deduce from the resume. But if, for example, they have a very very strong need for skill in a specific tech, sometimes it might be Golang, sometimes um, it might be like specific CI/CD pipeline processes, like they use Bazel at Google, right? But they might have some specific need for CI/CD familiarity. Then they will ask you about that. They will ask you about what kind of background and history you have in that front. Um, Otherwise, I would say the question is like, what's the question? The question is, we'll like to know what they ask or grill about. They don't really grill anything in the team match. The team match is already passed, right? Most of the time, it's going to be mostly culture. That's a missing culture fit, and also figuring out if you have any specific skills that they might be looking for. If you have teams that you're looking at already in team match that you know about, I would recommend asking in the general like TCN chat in like probably lounge. Lounge is chill. What else is chill there? Early careers chill, or even yeah, I think those seem most relevant for you to ask questions in regarding this. Like without information specifically about the teams that you're trying to match with, I really can't answer it. But generally speaking, it's not really about grilling. It's not really about grilling here. Um, cool. That's it then. That's it then. Everyone get out of here.